Why, hello.
Good after evening.
It is after evening. You're right. You're not wrong at all. Welcome to Night Court, everybody, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. That's kind of how we play this game. There's a lot happening tonight, and by that I mean there's not a ton, but that means hopefully we'll get through Jodi's Cross. Holy cow. I can't believe it's still going on. We thought the direct was long. I think it's just Juan. I think we all think Juan should need a nap by now. Juan doesn't think that, though. So we're going to do a couple things in the beginning, which is exciting. We're going to do top 3 like we always do. And I have a couple things that I got in the mail. So with thanks to 2 folks will happen. And then we'll talk to Brandi about what's been going on. And we'll go from there, because that's fun. Also, I do have a new Night Court Chat GPT Mad Lib. This one is provided to you by Miss Terry, True Crime. Also from True Crime and Wine Time. Also, I didn't think about it until very last minute, and she was very nice to answer my questions very fast. So there was that. But I'm always prepared, doggone it. I am an overachieving, procrastinating perfectionist. So are you down with OPP? That's all I got.
Yeah, you know me. Oh.
Yee, wee. I need a big clock. Okay. Congratulations, Portland Trailblazers TV and Lady in Gray. Yourself a rocket ship here. Finally, Baby Wonder coming in with the bean bag. Don't get stuck like the Queen of Queens. Be the Queen of Pink. All right. Well, congratulations to you 3. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. We sure as heck appreciate it a lot.
Hello, family.
Who has Milk Duds? I'm out of Milk Duds. It makes me very sad. Oh, Lady in Gray. She's got ice cream and then Milk Duds. I'm glad. Hopefully, I've created a monster with Milk Duds and popcorn. One day, I'll combine it.
You missed out on moon pies and 7-Up. That's what.
Moon pies and 7-Up.
We during the Valo sentencing, we were talking about, because people were talking about where they are or where they're from, and somehow we got to talking about food from different areas, and I was like, what's something that is real popular in your area but everybody else would be like, what, and because we were talking about moon pies, and Sheriff Grady here in Florida, where his famous quote was, he's on the news and he's like, chill out, drink a 7-Up, eat a moon pie, stop murdering people. And it's like one of my favorite quotes of all time. And he's so funny with it too. And hold on, I have to pull it up. I can't like tell you and you not eat a moon.
Do you want me to look it up real fast?
Yeah, pull it, because that way I don't even have to share my screen. Okay. Yeah. Right. Sheriff Grady, just if you type in Grady and eat a moon pie, chill out or something, it'll pop right up.
Is it a 9-second piece?
Yes.
Okay.
That's him. I see him. Love him.
So
hold on. Let me make sure this is loud enough. Okay.
So just chill out. Drink a 7-Up, eat a moon pie, quit murdering people.
I want it on a t-shirt. I won't get it on a t-shirt.
Merch.
He's the
Just saying.
For real.
I mean, I don't think he's copyrighted it. I don't think anybody's trademarked it. So,
he is the best.
And
we got to talking about that, and people were like, "What's a moon pie?" So we got to talking about it, and people were talking about all of the different foods and everything that they have in different areas. And one of them was like, "What's that meat?"
Scrapple.
Scrapple. Eat some scrapple, murdering people. We looked up what Scrapple is. He has a point.
I'd buy that shirt. I think we might have a new merch idea.
Too. Yes.
I'd buy it from myself.
Not to be confused with Scruffle. Scrapple and Scruffle, two different things.
Don't confuse Scrapple, Scruffle, and Scrabble.
Yeah, three different things.
You don't want to try to play Scrabble on Scrapple while having a Scruffle. It's just not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Not safe for anybody.
7-Up is. I have a love-hate relationship with 7-Up. It's good in mixed drinks sometimes, but also it reminds me of my grandmother, which is not a bad memory. It's just one that's just like, she always had 7-Up in the fridge, and that's what we had.
Aw, that's sweet.
Whereas my mom's mom had no idea what she was putting in her fridge, and it was Surge. So,
oh my gosh,
that
unlocked a memory.
It's literally, I mean, right? If memory serves me, and I could be wrong, Amp, the Mountain Dew-ish energy drink Amp is just Surge rebranded to a degree with some other stuff in it, I'm sure, but it's pretty damn close to being the same.
Well, I mean, White Claw is just Zima rebranded, so it's.
Oh, is it really?
I mean, basically, have you tasted?
I never had Zima, so I don't know.
It's like if you put a Jolly Rancher in your Zima when you were in high school. I mean, when you were 21. That's what it is. That's what these. That's what these are.
I didn't drink until I graduated high school, and then I was drinking a lot. A lot as I sit here. I'm gonna say this: if this is in your grocery store, I'm not advocating. This is not an advertisement. And if you're not into drinking, that's fine too. There are plenty of nights where I just have water. But this is New Realm Brewing Company. It's called Blackberry Smoke. I would imagine a tribute to the band, and it's actually from Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is kind of cool. But I suggest it. It is an American lager. I'm treating this like it's brew crime. It's not brew crime. I'm not reviewing beers, but it is very good. Anyways, do they still sell? I'm guessing that's Zima. Do they still sell Zima? I don't think so.
They just call them White Claw now.
I once photographed a wedding.
They put it in a can instead of a bottle, and gave it Jolly Rancher flavors, and now they call it White Claw. Same thing. Go ahead.
I once. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a second photographer sometimes at doing wedding photography, because that's more money and I like doing it. And it was really cute, this wedding. They had it on her family's farm, which happened to be a creamery. And so the wedding was actually, they had cut a big section out of a corn patch, or whatever you call it, the corn area. So you were surrounded by corn during this wedding, which is cool. But then we got to the reception, and it's a creamery, so this makes sense to a degree, but they had a massive canoe filled with ice, and half of it was milk, and half of it was White Claw. And I immediately knew what kind of show I was going to be photographing. I also knew I was going to be pulled on the dance floor, because that's what happens. I'm the dancing photographer, of no surprise to anybody. So that was fun. I can't imagine combining. They had like milk, chocolate milk, strawberry milk, and then right to the side was White Claw. Never the two should ever meet. Like ever.
I love strawberry milk. Oh my gosh, strawberry milk is the best.
Well,
now I want strawberry milk.
Because
JT does everything. Everything.
Jack of all trades, master of none of them.
And he'll do anything for 35 cents. Just throwing that out there.
That is very, very true. Very true. I'm not even going to argue it anymore. I just had this the other day. Red cream soda. I like it. Some people hate it. I like it. That's gross. that is curdling and and just a bad. That's an Irish car bomb 2 minutes after it should have been drank.
Oh, Candace, how this is cute. She says, I always called strawberry milk pink milk when my kids were little and they are grown and asked for pink milk. My baby, he would call chocolate milk brown and he would go, I want brown. I want brown. Oh, I miss that. Oh, his sweet little face back before he could talk and call me bruh. Oh. That was back before then.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites, but I'll tell you this, there is nothing better than an A&W root beer from an A&W restaurant.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Jennifer.
A&W root beer floats are really good.
Jennifer, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate you. I appreciate you anyways, but thank you for doing that. Welcome to the cult. Jodi, all good. 80s Music Man, welcome back. Terry's in. And then we got Rosalina. I'm gonna mess this up. Is it Godoy? You can correct me as many times as you want. And then Stacy with butterflies around her name. Welcome to the cult. Grab yourself Kool-Aid with a C and an E because of copyright infringement. And then also grab your juror seat. You can do it by typing in !seat and boom, you're there. This is troubling, but also very funny. I think his safe word is Jesus Martin Luther King.
Why did he give us his resume? Why?
For this, it's for the same reason the jurors were thanked for being taxpayers. There is no rhyme or reason. I did indeed on Monday run some of his stuff through ChatGPT and came up with very similar things. I'm not going to read it because I don't have it anymore, but I'm pretty sure that's what he used. Anyways, I'd fail him if he was in my classroom. So
just not a fan. Not a fan. Oh, before I forget to tell everybody, speaking of sit down, John Thomas, Kay said, she sent a message. She said that she feels our support and she appreciates it. I sent you the screenshot. What else did she say? Hold on.
I didn't see it. When did you send
it? I thought I sent it to group chat. Let me see. BRB. Let me just check. I don't remember exactly what it is, and I don't want to get it wrong. She said, thank you. She was talking about the her victim impact statement. She said that she could have talked for days, and she said, we feel and appreciate your support. So very sweet.
That is very nice. I love those two so much.
Yeah.
Like so much. So somebody mentioned here, wait, nope, that's not it. But also no ice. A&W. Oh, that's true. No root beer watered down. If it's cold, if it's dispensed cold, you don't need ice. So the real Cadbury chocolate. Let's talk about this for a second. What a you didn't know you were giving me a segue, did you? But you did. I got a couple of things in the mailbox yesterday, in which I was very excited because Lord knows if you've been following me on Twitter, you know I've been having a hard time because that's the reality, y'all. Even the happiest and funniest, not funniest, but happiest and laughiest of people also have a hard time. But one of the things that I got was a big old box from British Corner Shop, and this was from Shireen. So thank you, Shireen. I appreciate it. And these 2 boxes are called Brit Kits. Jennifer just gifted 1 more membership, and that went to Patricia Wilson. Welcome. But these British kits, I'm so excited because this is like the retro candy British kit, which is awesome. And then which my children are a fan of. I did not think my children were going to be a fan of the blackjack, but my 7-year-old is different and weird. And then also this one came in, and this is literally just all flipping chocolate.
Aw.
All of it, and it's all like British, and British chocolate is very different. I would say superior, but it's very different because I think the cocoa content is different. I'd have to look that up for a fact. So I will probably be having some of those in lieu of Milk Duds. Also, I noticed that somebody had entered the chat, so I got to do it.
Hello, Poppy.
And then I got this as well. This is also from Frankie, from JT Juana Taco Brewmeister. Oh, well, that was to me. But I was doing okay, and then I wrecked. I got wrecked. Yeah, it's so cool. She grabbed one of my favorite pictures of Stella too. But it's got her name on it and the date, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, Frankie. I had no idea what the 2 holes were in this frame. No idea. And I was like, well, I mean, it's a design choice. Surely that's what it is. And then Mrs. Bruce Crime said it's for her collar. I was like, oh, darn it. I'm stupid. I'm so dumb. But yeah, so there's her collar. We put her collar on, and it's up. Frankie, hopefully you'll be happy to know. It is up on the shelf. We have a tiny shelf that has her food bowl and her paw print, and the ashes are there and all of that. So she's got her own spot, and your picture is on that on that shelf as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. And Shireen, thank you as well for the goodies, because they're fantastic. That's all I have on that. Oh boy. Somebody asked for a poll. What's the best chocolate? British, Swiss, or German or American? We probably could just cancel out the American one because it is full of stuff. I haven't had. Well, I've had Swiss chocolate. I think I've had German chocolate too, and I just now had UK, the UK chocolate, which sounds worse than anything. Jennifer gifted another membership, which went to Megan Thomas. Megan, I hope you're not related to John Thomas, or I'm going to feel really sheepish.
Not me. Sit down, John Thomas. Welcome. Thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you.
Well, the poll
Jennifer.
is out.
Poll is out.
Oh man.
I don't discriminate. If it is chocolate, it will do. I am not I have such a sweet tooth. Half the time I'm always craving something sweet, but actually since going through chemo and stuff, like my sweet tooth is not as bad now as it used to be. I don't crave it as much now, but I still have my sweet tooth. Oh,
come on, British chocolate. Lisa has gone against her. Well, she's Welsh, so not the same. I think you can go with Swiss and be okay. I don't think you're going against the whole UK chocolate thing. We can.
They're gonna kick you
If
out.
I would have known that we were going to be doing a poll on chocolate, I would have looked up the difference between UK and US chocolate. As my friend co-host Harry would say, give it a quick goog. Oh, here we go. To be classed as chocolate in Britain, it has to contain a minimum of 20% cocoa solids, whereas American chocolate only needs to contain 10%. And that does make a difference. It does make a difference. I like it a lot. Jennifer gifted another membership.
thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. That went to Miss Justice Jones.
Miss
Justice Jones.
Life is a musical for you, JT, and I love it.
It kind of is. It's dangerous. They seem to like it here, though. They seem to like it here.
I love it.
Yeah. So that 20%. The other thing that I love about the British packaging is that in their nutritional in their ingredients they bold the things that are allergens so you can see them better. I think we in America don't bold those because we don't want companies don't want you to read them because half the stuff you don't even know what it is. So, but they bold the allergens, which I love. I think that's great. And they give you both the full package and the recommended like serving size in terms of the nutritional facts instead of just giving you the serving size and then making you multiply it. So my non-math heart makes me happy. This is fascinating to all of you, I know. I'm putting Brandi to sleep.
Brandy's exhausted, so it doesn't take much to put me to sleep. Swiss is in the lead by far, by a long shot, and then German.
Oh,
and British and American are tied for last. I mean third. They're tied for third, not last.
It does taste like charcoal. Who reads nutritional values? Honestly, I don't a lot, but I just look for the differences in the packaging and then also the taste and things like that because I'm weird.
I read alcohol content.
Like M&Ms taste different. Yeah, right.
That's where my label reading stops. So
Regina Crawford just gifted a membership. Thank you, Regina, and it went to Candy Cane.
Speaking of
I think
sweets,
welcome back is in order. I think you've been a member in the past, so welcome back, Candy Cane, and thank you very much, Regina. We appreciate that a lot. Also, thanks to the mods for thanking the people who gifted, because I can call it up on the screen. Oh, thanks, Frankie. No, the timing. No, don't worry. Don't worry. I really appreciated it a lot. It helps sometimes to have those things. And so I put it up there before Mrs. Bruce Crime got home, and I pointed it out, and she was very touched as well. And the kids love the fact that they can see Stella up there, and it's not just like they can see Stella. They don't just see the urn and the things like that. So I really appreciate that. That helps all of us a lot. So thank you. Thank you. Your actor son is working for Lilac Chocolates in New York City. What? Got the hookups. I've noticed though that most people who work in those kind of professions, they don't really have hookups. Like they're so stingy with not the people who work there, but the companies they work for are so stingy. And it's not like, Willy Wonka, which I like to imagine that it is Willy Wonka.
I think it's not fair that Willy Wonka's chocolate factory doesn't really exist. Because
I do find it rude.
I think it's rude as hell, actually, because I feel like would that not be the funnest birthday or field trip or bachelorette party or
are you kidding me? That's where that's immediately where I would take all of us and the mods and we would have a team building like retreat at a Willy Wonka factory. I think that would be awesome. And then I'd sing all the songs.
Yes.
Because of course I would.
Because of course you would. And there would be choreography involved, no doubt. No doubt.
Wait, Nan said I need to get my daughter to see if she could give me some of that chocolate. What are you talking about? I have to go back up to see what the reference is. Oh, hi, Jams.
Hi, Jams.
Hello. I don't know if sign me up. I really would have liked to eventually do some.
Regina said you can lick the wallpaper.
Everybody. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
You can lick the wallpaper at other places. It's just frowned upon. There are some places where they'll escort you out. Don't ask me how I know, but it's doable. It's just not recommended.
I've got a golden ticket. Oh my gosh, look. Jams, the wall grows. I don't know if it's grown since you've been here, but there's also another one. There's another one like right there too. But it grows. It grows. I got the wrong background up on my ticker. When was somebody going to tell me? I did everything else but fix that.
I didn't notice.
We're better now. It's okay.
It's all better.
It's like
everything's fine.
It's flavor text. It's flavor text is what it is. Oh, you drank the fizzy lifting drinks? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Oh, wait. Tell the story, Brandi. Don't just tease it. Don't just lick it and run. Tell the story of you licking wallpaper.
Just lick it and run. All right, Night Court.
Don't
That's that's more of a
It belongs on Night Court. Let the record show and reflect that JT did not think of that. That was your wholesome Brandi.
JT said it. It's not my fault. What a
Anyway,
day.
it's fine.
What a day. Buffy Bot said that
What
escalated
a
quickly.
Please.
All right, I'm ending our chocolate poll because
Okay.
ain't nobody gonna beat Swiss now.
At this point, no.
That's all right.
45, 30, 11, and 11. I don't think any British definitely should have taken a higher percentage than American. So I am shocked to my core. Oh, I should have played this.
Phrasing.
That would have been a better idea.
Oh, I know. Don't get used to it.
Dean, maybe.
Look how red I turned.
Maybe Dean. That's very true. What happened? You saw business and all of a sudden you made it your business. What's going on?
I know. Brandi made a bedroom joke.
Oh.
And now I'm bright red.
How many kids did this mess up? This scene. There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are rowing. Oh, is it raining? Is it pouring? Is a hurricane blowing? Oh, well.
Tommy Jones said Brandy's still in jammies. Yes, because Brandi hasn't left this chair since 7 o'clock this morning. So, what time is it?
This matches your pink shirt. No, it most assuredly does not. I've read I told you I read them. It comes like I've seen York, I've seen Ireland, I can't remember the rest, but that. Yep. Well, you do you want to go lay down?
Yeah. Well, I've got about another hour of work, and then I'm gonna go lay down.
Oh God.
I'm getting stuff ready for tomorrow. The Pike County Massacre trial is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Sweater fort. Thank God that sweater. I thought it was so cute when I found it in the store, and this has been years ago. But they only had it in an extra small or like a 3XL. So I was like, okay, whatever, 3XL. So thank God I used, of all sweaters, to grab my big old huge, grandma sweater that day, because it made the perfect fort. I was like, it was the best every time they brought out the words that I can't listen to without turning red. It was the best sweater fort ever. Loved it. Oh, thank God your business is over.
Can I say this? I agree with Amber on this one, because something that I absolutely love, this is not a big picture, but whatever. Something I love that everybody probably just assumes that I love is Monty Python. And there is I think this is one of the first episodes in Monty Python where he has his desk on the beach. I think that's what you should do from here on out.
I wish.
Just saying. There's nothing better than electronics and water. So
yeah, it's great. It's a great idea.
Go for it. Oh.
I wish that I could be outside on the beach doing this. It would make life so much more relaxing, but also brighter. And I would have some crazy tan lines. So the trial that we're doing right now is it's a really big one. So but so many of the witnesses opted out. So I'm going through now and getting timestamps together so I can figure out what we're gonna watch tomorrow. But today we ended up starting the Pike County Massacre trial, and we're breezing through it because so many people opted out of being on camera. We started at like mid-morning, and or maybe after lunch or something. I don't remember.
Mhm.
It's all running together. And mid-morning, I think. And then we made it through the first 3 days, like, quick. And so tomorrow we're going to do that. And then Friday we will. Monday we will probably try to finish some of it. And then I'm going to introduce our new trial that we're going to start on Tuesday. So.
And I don't know. Sure. I don't know if you probably did see. But for those of you who are tuning in, on our link tree, we now have voting open for the next trial for Night Court. And if you click on that bottom button, our two options are Chandler Halderson and Joel Guy Jr., also known as Gru. And so those are the two options. They have very similar crimes. The trials both took place during COVID, or the height of COVID, I believe. But right now, Joel Guy is winning with 54% to Chandler's 46%. So depending on what you want to see, you should go vote if you have not.
He looks like,
that's all I had.
Like he looks like a chubby version of Lip from Shameless. Lip.
Oh, got it. I'm there.
From Shameless. Did you watch Shameless?
I saw. Are you talking about the American Shameless?
Yeah.
Okay. No. I saw like the first 8 episodes, I think, of the British series.
Oh.
He
looks like Lip with a mask on and like 30 extra pounds. That's what he looks like. But yeah, Lip from Shameless.
Lip. Oh, he does. You're not kidding. Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, that's who will play him in the movie. We cast the movie as we go along. So
we do.
It makes things more interesting. All right, I am going to get off of here and finish my work. So I'm trying to get some sleep tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy Jodi, all things Jodi, and I will see y'all bright and early in the morning, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. We will continue on our journey through the Pike County Massacre Trial.
There's no earthly way of knowing. Bye,
y'all.
Brandi. How many of you waved? That's what I want to know. How many of you waved? Well, y'all, I think it's time to take the portal into Jodi. Jodi's trial. I did it again. Phrasing.
Phrasing?
Good grief, JT. Good grief. Well, let's hop into the trial. Let's hop into the portal, shall we? Arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Oh, who's excited? Totally me. Actually, I always am excited. And I am going to fix this. Hopefully, please. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this on. Save. Update. There we go. That looks a little better. Jennifer, thank you for gifting another membership. Janice Pinkston, you are now in the cult. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but on Netflix, there's a documentary that's out. Kind of a documentary. It's like a series on how to be a cult leader. I have been watching it. Turns out Brandi was watching it around the same time I was watching it. So we're serious about this. So you might want to watch it just to be looking out for any characteristics that we might go through. Yes. So all right, let's get into this trial, shall we? We are currently on part 14 of the Jodi Cross, and I think we just have a bit more left in terms of getting through the cross, and then we have 2 days of redirect and then 3 days of jury questions. So I'm really excited about kind of getting into those. This will be fun. All right.
Up to your trip.
Leading up to, yeah, I feel
Okay.
a little bit.
And you would agree then that the events leading up to your trip were probably the end of May, and the murder was, or the killing was on June 4th of 2008. So are you saying that that whole period you're having problems with your memory? Or is it just the end of May?
Well, there are some things I recall and some things I don't.
So my question is, are you having trouble with both or just the end of May?
I'd say my whole life is like that, so both.
So you're saying that you're having trouble remembering everything or events throughout your life. Is that what you're saying?
You sit on a
Some
throne of
things, not
lies.
everything.
And sometimes you know what you can remember very well, and sometimes you can't. Is that what you're saying?
You mean can't at all or can't remember well?
Can't remember. Both well or at all?
Yeah,
Tell me.
all of the above.
And so at the end of May then, you're saying that you really don't remember whether or not you made a telephone call to Mr. Brewer. Is that what you're saying?
I don't remember specifically, but I know I called him at one point.
All right, and you did call him because you wanted to talk to him about some gas cans, right?
That wasn't the purpose of the call.
Well, that was what was discussed during that call, correct?
I think so, yes.
You're saying you think so? Yes, correct? That's
Yes.
what you're saying. And so one of the things that you told him in discussing these gas cans was that you were going to take a trip, right?
Yes,
And that the purpose for the gas cans was that you could put gas in them, right?
yes,
And the other thing that you told him was that the trip that you were going to make was going to be to Mesa, Arizona, right?
no,
You were here when he testified, correct?
yes,
And he's somebody that you've had I guess, a long-term relationship with, correct?
yes, about 4 years.
Pardon?
About 4 years, we were in a relationship.
Right? And then even after that, you have had, if not a close friendship, you've had a friendship after the two of you split, correct?
It was more distant, but it was still a friendship.
Sure. And then, in fact, you felt comfortable. You still remembered his number, right? Telephone number, right?
Yes.
And you felt comfortable enough to ask him for a favor, right?
Certain favors, yes.
Well, that particular favor, you felt comfortable in asking him for that, right?
Which one? The gas cans?
Well, which other favor are we talking about? Are there more than one favor here that we've talked about?
I want to know what you're talking about.
No, I'm asking you. Do you remember that we started talking about gas cans? Do you remember that?
Yes.
That we've talked of nothing else other than gas cans so far. Is there anything else that you believe that we've talked about?
I wasn't sure, that's why I asked.
Ma'am, is there anything else that we have talked about?
I'm not sure, that's why I asked.
I'm asking you, is there anything else that has been posed to you other than this gas can issue involving Mr. Brewer?
Yes.
Ask and answer that.
Chief Banks! Chief Banks!
Now, you have this conversation with him involving the gas cans. It is more than one conversation, isn't it?
I don't remember.
And it could be more than one conversation. It's what you're telling us, right?
Yes.
And are you saying you did not tell him that you were going to go to Mesa when you spoke to him?
That's right, I told him after.
I'm asking you, the question is this, isn't it true that before you went on the trip, you told him you were going to Mesa?
No, that is not true.
All right. Isn't it true that as part of one or another conversation that you had, you told them that you were going to go to Arizona to visit some friends?
No, I said Utah.
You didn't. I'm asking you whether or not it's true that you told him that you were going to Mesa to visit some friends before you took the trip.
No, I said Utah.
I'm not asking you what you said, am I?
Objection, Badger.
All right.
I'm going with 10.
Yeah, I
10's
think you are.
my thought.
You're thinking, my question to you is asking you what you told them. Is that what you think it is? Whether or not you told them that you were going to go to Utah? Do you think that that's what the question was?
No,
The question was, isn't it true, ma'am, that you discussed with Mr. Brewer before the trip that you took that you needed the gas cans to go and visit friends in Mesa, Arizona? What is your answer to that?
my answer is no, I told him Utah.
And I'm asking you whether or not you think I'm asking you what you told him. Am I asking you what you told him?
That's kind of my interpretation of it. It's a yes or no question.
It is a yes or no question, isn't it?
And I answered no 3 times, yes.
And you also added something 3 times, didn't you?
Yes, the truth.
Am I asking you whether you're telling the truth?
You have asked me that.
Am I asking you right now if you're telling the truth?
I don't know, are you?
Well, have you heard that question prior to you saying
Who's on
that?
first? What's on second? I don't know who's on
Yes.
third.
You heard that question immediately before I'm telling the truth. The prosecutor asking you if you were telling the truth, you heard the prosecutor say that.
Not immediately.
Pardon?
Not immediately.
So the answer is yes or no. Did you hear the question immediately before you gave the answer that you were telling the truth?
No, not immediately.
So you did have these conversations with Mr. Brewer and you decided to get the gas cans. Why don't you just go and buy some gas cans?
They were expensive.
And when you say they were expensive, how much is a gas can?
I don't remember, but it wasn't in my budget for my travels.
And you wanted 2 of them, right?
I don't know, I guess whatever he had.
So if you would have had 6, you would have taken 6?
No, they wouldn't have fit.
And these gas cans, when you picked them up, where did you put them?
In the trunk.
In the back?
Yes.
So you rented this car, and this car had some floor mats, correct?
No, it did not.
So then you get into this car, and you pick it up, you go back to sleep, right?
Yes, back at my brother's house.
I didn't ask you where, did I?
No.
I asked you if you went back to sleep, right?
Yes.
So you went back to sleep, and at some point, you then started to go on your trip for reals, right?
Okay, yeah.
All right, and about what time was that?
I want to say late morning, but I'm not too sure.
And you then drove south till you got to the Monterey, California area, correct?
I stopped again and slept and then continued driving south.
What did you say?
I stopped again and slept and then I continued driving south.
Did anybody ask you whether or not you slept?
Well, you just asked me.
I asked you whether or not you slept. Is that what my question was?
Yes, you asked if I went to sleep.
No, I asked you when you started your trip, did you make it to Monterey, California? Do you remember me asking you that?
I remember you asking something like that, but not worded that way.
When you say something like that, again, it seems that you have a problem with your memory. Do you have a problem with your memory today?
Not in this particular case.
Okay, so after you woke up, after sleeping at your sister's house, did you begin your trip?
Yes.
And did you eventually make it to the Monterey, California area?
Yes.
And what time did you get there?
It was very, very late. I think it was even the 3rd in the morning because we had stopped in Santa Cruz first.
So you got there on the 3rd, you believe, but in any event, it was late, correct?
Yeah, it was past midnight, I think, by the time we got to Monterey.
And so in terms of miles, how many miles are we talking about?
From where to where?
From the place that you left your sister to Monterey, wherever it is that you went, and you arrived around midnight or after, or in the early morning hours of June 3rd.
Well, I'm not particularly sure. I'd say somewhere in the ballpark of 500 miles.
And so,
I know more by hours, not miles.
okay, how many hours then?
From
Don't remember.
Reading
I don't
to
remember.
Santa Cruz, it was approximately 6.5 to 7 hours.
And in Santa Cruz, did you meet anybody?
Yes,
And that's where you met Mr. McCartney, correct?
yes, and his roommate.
And did I ask you again if you met his roommate?
You asked if I met anybody.
No, I asked you if you met Mr. McCartney. Do you remember that question?
Yes, and I answered yes.
And so you met Mr. McCartney, and you spent the night at a place where he was living, right?
Yes,
And what time did you get up the next morning?
I don't remember, but it would have been in the morning.
I understand it was the morning. Would it have been really early, or would it not be so early in the morning?
It would have been before Jack had to go to school, so whatever time that was, it couldn't have been too late.
What time did Jack have to go to school?
I don't remember.
And so, did you have plans already to meet up with Mr. McCartney, or is it a situation where you got on the phone on the road, called him up, and said, hey, I'm coming down there, can we meet?
It was definitely beforehand because I was going to crash there.
So when did you speak to him beforehand? Was it a week or so before? Was it days before you left? What was it?
I don't know. We spoke here and there. I don't know.
All right, and did Mr. McCartney go with you the next morning to meet with Mr. Brewer?
No.
So you did go over to Mr. Brewer's house, and one of the reasons that you went over was to talk to or see Jack, the son, right?
That was one of the reasons.
And you also had breakfast there, correct?
Yes.
And you also checked your email there, correct?
I think it was my MySpace
Pardon?
email. Yeah, what was my MySpace account? I think
Well,
I
when you
checked.
say that you checked your MySpace account, is your email included in the MySpace account?
There is an email system, but not my main email.
I'm asking if you checked when you checked your MySpace account, did you check any email in the MySpace account?
I don't remember.
Did you check?
I
You mentioned that you had another email system. Did you check that other
500
email
miles
system?
and I would walk 500
I don't remember.
more.
Probably not. I think it was just MySpace.
And what was the purpose for checking that, the MySpace account?
Hadn't done it in a few days, so
And so you check that, and then at some point, you get some gas cans, right?
yes.
And when in this whole sequence of events do you get the gas cans?
Sometime while I was visiting with him. I don't remember how it happened.
Was it before or after Jack left for school?
I don't remember.
And what color were the gas cans?
They were red
And where did you put them?
in the trunk.
And that would be in the back, correct?
Yes,
Where was your luggage?
in the trunk.
Same place with the same area as the gas cans?
Yes.
And how much time do you spend there with Mr. Brewer?
I don't know. I think it was somewhere like a half hour, it felt like. I don't really remember.
And then you leave, right?
Yes,
But you come back again, right?
yes,
To return a remote, right?
right.
What kind of remote are you returning?
It was for either his TV or his DVD player, I think.
How is it that it found its way into your car?
I don't know. I think that it
Well,
was,
don't speculate. You don't know, right?
no, it was already with him. I drove away with it on accident. I don't know how I got it.
All right. And then after you returned it, you drove to Salinas, right?
Yes.
And in Salinas, you did a number of things, right?
Not really. I just did a few things.
Pardon?
I just did a few things.
Right. You did your nails, right?
Number of things.
Yes.
That's what he said.
And you said it took quite a while, right?
I had to wait for a while. Yes.
In other words, the doing of the nails didn't take a long time. The fact that you probably didn't have an appointment is what took some time, right?
Yes. There are no appointments there.
And then you left Salinas and continued your trip, right? And this would be on the 3rd, right?
That's correct.
About what time was it?
It was afternoon, but I don't know what time.
You told us about the gas cans from Mr. Brewer, right?
That's right.
But you forgot to tell us something else, didn't you?
You haven't asked me yet.
Well, isn't it true that there was more than 2 gas cans involved here, right?
Yes.
And you testified on direct examination involving the gas cans, didn't you?
Yes.
And you never testified about a 3rd gas can, did you?
No.
And this 3rd gas can, you actually bought it in Salinas, didn't you?
Yes.
And you bought it from Walmart, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And not only do you have 2 5-gallon gas cans, you have another gas can. What's the capacity of this one?
It was the same size. No, I think it was, I don't know. It was the same size, I think.
You think it was, so now you have a capacity of 15 gallons, right?
At that moment, I did.
Well, you're saying like at that moment, did the size of these gas cans change so that it would go from a 15-gallon capacity down to a lesser capacity?
Objection.
I sustain the objection.
With regard to, you keep saying that at that point you had that capacity. Was there something involving these gas cans that would not allow you to fill them up to their capacity later on?
Yes, there was.
And what is that?
I returned the gas can.
You returned it back, right?
Yes.
So that you now have a capacity of still 10 gallons, right?
Yes.
Maximum, right?
Yes.
So then why is it, ma'am?
Here it is. Here it comes. Get ready for it. He's got it where he
That
wants
when you
it.
go to the ARCO fill up with gas, you remember that?
Yes.
And then you go inside and exhibit number 237.012, do you see that there?
Yes.
That's a capacity of 10 gallons, right? Or approximately, it's 9.5494 gallons, right?
Yes.
And then 237.013, it's 2.77 gallons, right?
Where does it say that? Oh, yeah, I see that.
So you're saying that these gas cans then have a larger capacity now?
I don't know what the capacity was.
Well, you remember Mr. Brewer saying they were 5-gallon gas cans, right?
I don't know if he said that or not.
You were here when he testified, right?
I was physically here, yes. Sometimes I space out.
Pardon?
I was physically here, yes. Sometimes I space out.
And so you're saying that throughout the trial, you may have spaced out and not paid attention to what's going on?
During other people's testimonies, sometimes my mind wanders.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Doesn't care.
And you don't remember then specifically what Mr. Brewer may have said. Is that what you're saying?
I remember some things he said. Almost all.
But not everything.
Not every single thing.
Well, 237.011. Do you see that? It says Arco and it's in Pasadena.
Yes.
Do you see the address there?
Yes.
What's the address? Read it for me.
3706 East Foothill Boulevard,
And the city and state?
Pasadena, California, 92553.
And it does talk about a debit account. You see that?
Yes.
Talks about a date of June 3rd, 2008, right?
Yes.
And a time of 8:42 p.m., right?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Yes.
And then it talks about being at pump number 2. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then it talks about the amount of gallons that are involved, right?
Yes.
8.301 gallons. And there's the price there, right?
Yes.
That is for you filling up the car, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, you were there though, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
And this is first in the sequence at 8:42 p.m., right?
Yes.
And you don't know whether or not this is part of filling up the car with gas then?
I don't remember what order I filled
All
out.
right, well, you remember that we're talking about 2 5-gallon gas cans, right?
Yes,
5 plus 5 is 10, right?
that's right.
This is 8.301.
I didn't
Do you
come
see
here to
that?
math, sir.
Yes.
So this is not the capacity, if you will, of the up to 10 gallons for those 2 gas cans, correct?
It has that capacity, so that's not correct. It's not the maximum capacity.
No, it isn't, right? So there's no reason to believe that this could be the gas cans. If you're going to take these gas cans, presumably you're going to fill them up to the top, right?
Objections, presuming something is not.
Restate your question.
You were taking those gas cans for a reason, right?
Yes.
And that was to have extra gas, right?
Originally it was.
Yes or no? Was it to have extra gas available to you?
At one point, yes. At another point, no.
Well, and if you want to have extra gas
What does that
available
mean?
to you, don't you want to have the maximum amount?
I guess.
Well, no, you were driving. You're the one that asked to borrow these gas cans. If you have 10 gallons of space available, and you want to make sure that you have enough gas, wouldn't you fill it up to approximately 10 gallons?
Objection, what's the relevancy of this? 8.3 gallons.
I don't know.
Ma'am, what's going on is that exhibit 237.001 is you filling up that Ford Focus with gas, isn't it?
I don't remember what order I filled up.
And this was at 8:42 p.m., right?
Yes.
And you went and you pumped your own gas, didn't you?
Yes.
And then after,
like my
and you
thing,
paid
bro.
with a debit card. Do you see that?
Yes.
You had a MasterCard back then, right?
I don't remember what it was, MasterCard or Visa.
But you paid for that with a
Matter?
credit card or Visa or MasterCard, whatever it was, right?
Yes.
with regard to the gas that you purchased inside, which is 237.012,
That's what I'm saying.
you paid cash, right?
That's right.
And cash is harder to track in terms of sales than a credit transaction. Wouldn't you agree?
Not if you save the receipt.
Not if you save your receipt. What if you don't save your receipt, ma'am? Wouldn't you agree that a cash transaction is harder to keep track of than a credit transaction?
Yes, I would agree with that.
And in this case, you initially said, I want to pay $40, right?
Yes.
And then it's the amount of gallons that you got for that was 9.594 gallons, correct?
Yes.
And that was the $40, right?
Yes.
Do you see the time there?
That would be 10:53.
Well, how about 846.50? If we, you see the 2046.50, wouldn't that be 846.50?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's correct.
And that is 4 minutes after the transaction and 237.001. Do you see that?
Yes. Wait, what was the other time? I'm sorry.
It's 842.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
846.50. Do you see that?
Yes. I was sorry, I was looking at the other time on the top.
Do you see that right there?
Yes.
It's 846.50, right?
Okay.
So that's 4 minutes after the transaction. That's the debit transaction, right?
Yes.
And then you have 237.013. It's the same article, right?
Yes.
And this one is at what time?
This one is at, what time was it?
Your mother was a
8:53.
huckster
53.
and your father
And that's 5
smelt
minutes
of
later
elderberry.
than the transaction involving the approximately 10 gallons of gas, right?
Yes.
And during that time, that 5 minutes, that would allow you to go from the inside out to your car again, wouldn't it? 5
Yes.
minutes. It was that close, correct?
Yes.
And the time span between exhibit 237.001, which is 8:42, to the next one, which is 8:46, which is 4 minutes, that would give you time to go back between the car and the register or inside the store, correct?
Yes.
And so now, we know that at that particular gas station, you spent 237.011, I'm sorry. It's $35 there, right?
Yes.
And 6
And there was
cents,
much
but let's leave the
rejoicing.
cents aside. And 237.012, that's $40. So far you spent $75 in gas, right?
Yes.
And then if you add from 237.013, if you add 9, because we're rounding up, you're now talking $84 in gas that you spent, right?
I don't know, I'm not good at math, but okay.
Assuming the math is correct.
Assuming the math is correct.
It's between $80 and $84 in gas that you spent, correct?
Yes.
And so you've now driven all the way down there, and one of the reasons that you told us on direct examination that you wanted these gas cans was that gas was cheaper in Arizona and Utah. Do you remember telling us that on direct?
No, I said Nevada and Utah.
All right, gas is cheaper in Nevada and Utah, right?
Yes.
You weren't filling up in Nevada or Utah, were you?
No.
You were filling up in California, right?
Yes.
Where the gas is as expensive there as it is probably throughout the state, right?
No.
Or well, it was expensive in California, isn't it?
More than Nevada and Utah, yes.
And so you had actually, and California is kind of a progressive state in the sense that it has gas stations almost everywhere, doesn't it?
Injection foundation, relevance.
Restate your question.
On your travels on that date, you went from the Monterey area down to Salinas. Any trouble seeing any gas stations there?
No.
From Salinas all the way down to Pasadena. Any problem seeing any gas stations there?
No.
So it seems that your fears about gas in California were not well founded then, right? There was gas in places that you were traveling in California, right?
I didn't have any fears in California of that, so no.
You had fears somewhere else, correct?
Yes.
Arizona, for example, right?
No.
Well, you did end up going through Arizona, right?
Yes, I did.
And so presumably, is that where the fears were, in Arizona?
No, I've driven that highway many times. I knew where the gas stations were there.
So you didn't really have a need for gas if you're going to drive through Arizona, right?
No, that's right.
The only
yes.
prescription
That's right.
is more cowbell.
And you were telling us, though, that approximately every 150 to 170 miles, your car was running out of gas. Do you remember telling us that?
150 to 170 miles?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't remember saying that.
Well, do you remember that you said that you had problems with that your Ford Focus had problems with gas, that it was using too much gas on direct examination?
I remember running out quickly, yes.
Well, you told us that this car, the Ford Focus, was using an inordinate amount of gas, correct?
No, that wasn't my thought.
Well,
It ran out of gas quickly.
you told us that from Pasadena, then you filled up at Desert Center, right?
Yes.
That's approximately 170 miles down the road, right?
I don't know.
Well, you drove it.
It sounds right.
Foundations, yes, man.
Stay asking another question.
Just so she doesn't get lost.
And after that, you then said
can
that
find
you drove out to Buckeye and you filled up there, right?
Yes.
That's approximately another 170 miles, right?
Objection, foundation.
Well, Lottie
Oh my
freaking
gosh.
God!
Well, you did drive that though. You
Yes,
did
I
tell
did.
us that, right?
Yes.
And you told us that both of those times you filled up, right?
Yes.
And you filled that car up with 12 gallons of gas approximately every time, right?
Whatever it would have been, I filled up, I think.
Well, if you were running low, we've already seen the capacity, then it would be approximately 12 gallons, wouldn't it?
Objection,
Yes.
foundations,
I guess.
Thank you, Donna.
Ma'am,
don't
you
know
said
about
that you
cool,
filled
but I
up in
appreciate
Winnemucca,
the
right? And your
compliment.
car was
Thank you.
low, ran out of gas, right?
It did not run out of gas. I was low.
Oh, so it didn't run out of gas, and yet you were able to put over 12 gallons worth of gas in Winnemucca, correct?
That's correct.
And so if you are running low on gas in Desert Center, that would mean that you would put approximately 12 gallons worth of gas, right?
Approximately.
And then from that point over to Buckeye, you said you put gas into the car again, right?
Yes, I did.
So that would mean that you would put another 12 gallons worth of gas in the car if it was running low,
Objection, ask and answer.
based on the previous computations.
Overruled, you may answer.
If you base it on those computations, but I stopped in Buckeye because the Shell station there always had cheap gas.
I'm not asking you whether or not it had cheap gas, right? Am I?
So you're
telling no. me
there's a
Do you remember that on direct examination, the way you processed this was that, oh, this car used an inordinate or a lot of gas. Do you remember telling us that portion?
Yes.
And that as a consequence of that, do you remember telling us that you stopped at Desert Center, right? And put
Yes.
gas in it.
I feel like that
And then you also said, and because of this problem that it was running low on gas, you also stopped in Buckeye, right? You
I think
told
they
us
just
that,
Yes, I
assumed
right?
did.
at this point.
So if this car is running low on gas, that means that it's close to empty, right?
Yes.
And so that would mean that if it's close to empty, it would be around 12 gallons that you put at Desert Center inside the car tank, right?
Approximately.
Approximately. And then it would be another 12 gallons worth of gas there at Buckeye, right?
Presumably, yes.
Well, given the computations that we have going. And then you made your way over to Mesa, right?
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take you to get to Mesa?
That hour of the morning, not long because there was no traffic.
And how much gas did you use?
I don't know.
And all the while you have these gas cans full of gas, right?
Yes, I did.
And because you filled up in Pasadena, correct?
Yes.
And where did you put these gas cans?
They were in my trunk.
And again, in the back part of the trunk?
Yes.
And you maintain that this third gas can, that you did not have a third gas can then, right?
No, not at that time.
When you keep saying that at that time, I'm asking, after Salinas, you did not have that gas can, right?
That's correct.
Take a look at 237.008. Do you see that? Do you see the receipt?
Yes,
And at the very bottom, it says 5G. That actually means 5 gallons, right?
yes,
Carol Carb is the type of gas
No.
can, correct?
yes,
And it's $12.96, right?
yes,
Ma'am, at the time that you bought it, one of the things that you were telling us was that you were very financially strapped, for lack of a better phrase, right?
that's right.
So if you want to save on gas, which is on the price of gas, which is what you say is your ultimate goal,
Can't
right?
imagine the smell.
At the time that I wanted gas cans, that was my ultimate goal.
So that was your ultimate goal at the time that you talked to Mr. Brewer, right?
That's correct.
So if you want to save on gas, why is it then that you're willing to pay $13 for a gas can, which would increase, if you will, the price of travel
Well,
by $13?
that wasn't a calculation that I made when I bought it. That's why I returned it.
Do you have the receipt that you took it back?
I didn't get a receipt.
So Walmart did not give you any documentation whatsoever when you took that gas can back?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm asking you just I just want to be as clear as we can about this. You believe that when you took that gas can back, Walmart did not give you any written document evidencing that or showing that?
I don't recall having to fill anything out or any documents regarding that, no.
You weren't even given a printout or anything at all, right?
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying I don't remember.
And you would agree, though, that if you bought the gas can and it was approximately $13, it would not make any financial sense if you were looking to save for gas, correct?
I do agree with that.
And the other thing is, if you're looking to save for gas and you're trying to do this, wouldn't it have made more sense to have filled up in Pasadena, then driven up to Nevada, if that's where you were going, and once you get to Nevada, fill up the gas cans? Wouldn't it have made more sense then?
Yes, it would have if that was my goal.
Well, your goal at that time when you were filling up was to travel up to Utah, didn't you tell us that?
Yes,
So you didn't do that though, right?
I did not end up going directly to Utah.
I'm not saying whether or not you ended up going directly to Utah. At the time that you filled up these cans, your plans were to go to Utah, weren't they?
Yes,
Because of the time on there, correct?
yes,
Previously, you had told us that you didn't speak to Mr. Alexander until after that, right?
that's right.
In fact, you were at getting some coffee or something, right? At Starbucks, something like that, or some drink at Starbucks, correct?
Yeah, strawberry drink.
Right, at Starbucks, right?
Yes,
And so if you are going to go from Pasadena to Nevada, you can make it on a tank of gas, can't you? Overall.
I've never driven that freeway, so, I mean, this is the USA, so I would guess yes, but I've never driven that road, especially not at night, so.
You didn't think that perhaps all that way from Pasadena to Las Vegas, there wouldn't be a gas station? Did you believe that that was the case?
No, I didn't believe that was the case.
So if you really are trying to save on gas, you would have continued driving through California and filling up in California until you got to Nevada. And then you would have been able to purchase the cheaper gas, right?
That was a long question, I'm sorry, will you say it again?
Well, it would have made more financial sense for you to keep driving from Pasadena northbound, northeastbound,
Is this it?
until you got closer to the border, right? And then when you got to Nevada, then it would have made more sense to fill the gas cans, right?
Financially, yes.
And that was your goal, correct?
At the time I got the gas cans, that was my goal.
Your goal changed apparently, is what you're saying, right?
I still wanted to save gas, but my priority changed.
Okay, and
That'd be
so
funny.
with regard to
Yeah.
exhibit number 237.012, this is the one that's approximately 10 gallons. And then 237.013, It's approximately 2.7 gallons. You see that?
Yes,
You were the person that actually put the gas into the gas cans, right?
that's right.
And you know that one of the gas cans was 5 gallons, right?
Yes.
The other was 5 gallons, right?
Well, I believe it was because that's what Daryl said.
They were the same size, weren't they?
They were the same size.
And so if that's the capacity, the most that each can carry is about
Blue.
10 gallons, right?
No.
Yes, I guess.
Checkers.
Yeah, you were able to put 10 gallons plus 2.774 gallons
Yeah.
in
For sure.
containers, weren't you?
You lost jury.
No, I think the other one, the 10 gallon, was probably the car.
Was what?
Probably the car, I would guess.
What did you, tard?
Car.
So you're saying
might.
that this one right here, 237.012 went to the car.
That's very possible.
And you're saying that this one right here, 237.001, went into the gas can. Is that what you're saying?
That sounds right.
Okay. Why are you breaking it up then, this purchase? If you're going to put 10 gallons in the gas can, what you're saying is you went to the pump, went to the gas cans, and you put 8.3 gallons worth of gas in it, right?
Yes.
Then you made that debit transaction, right?
Yes.
And then you
And now for something completely different.
Well, it's now for another edition because we need a break from gas talk, all this gas talk. So, I'm full of hot air. So let's get into this, shall we? Time for another edition of ChatGPT Mad Libs Night Court Edition. This story is brought to you by Terry. And the title of the story is Crazy Jodi's Cajun Adventure. And I will say this. What I asked for was this. I asked for a character, a music artist, a number, a nationality, a mode of transportation, a type of dessert, football position. Well, I asked for sport, but she gave me a football position, a location, type of weapon, time in history, and profession. So here is Crazy Jodi's Cajun Adventure. La 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 la. Once upon a time in the great state of Texas, in the year 2023, there lived a quirky and energetic Cajun woman named Crazy Jodi. She had a love for adventure and a passion for music, particularly for the legendary artist Madonna. Crazy Jodi's infectious spirit and unique personality made her the life of every party. One sunny afternoon, Crazy Jodi received an invitation to attend a Madonna concert in Houston. Overjoyed by the opportunity, she decided to take her crazy antics on the road. Ooh, we're back to the gas talk. But she had one small problem. Her beloved boots were the only mode of transportation she had. Undeterred, she donned her favorite boots and set out on an epic journey. Oh, the wig. Oh, the wig. We're on epic journey. She's setting out for an epic journey. I am talking about Jodi. It's only fair. It was never meant to be a blonde, but here we are. Okay. All right. Now I got to read through all of this. Also had to call for music. Let's see. All right. You tell me if that's too loud. All right. She set out on an epic journey. As Crazy Jodi traveled across Texas, she encountered a series of hilarious misadventures. She danced her way through the streets, catching the attention of everyone she passed. When she arrived at the concert venue, her boots had become a sensation, and people began wearing boots just like Crazy Jodi's to honor her. With her wild Cajun spirit and infectious energy, Crazy Jodi stood out even among the eccentric Madonna fans. She was invited backstage to meet her idol, the Queen of Pop herself. Crazy Jodi couldn't believe her luck. Madonna was captivated by Crazy Jodi's unique charm and asked her to join the performance on stage. The number of the song was, of course, 23. A coincidence that Crazy Jodi found serendipitous. With her boots and Cajun dance moves, she rocked the stage alongside her music icon, leaving the crowd in stitches with laughter and awe. After the unforgettable performance, Madonna and Crazy Jodi became fast friends. Madonna was impressed by Crazy Jodi's vivacity and unique perspective on life. She even promised to visit Louisiana to experience some Cajun culture firsthand. But the adventure didn't end there. Crazy Jodi, now a renowned celebrity in her own right, received a call from a Texas football team. They needed a hot quarterback, and Crazy Jodi's unconventional style seemed perfect for the job. The team thought she might bring a fresh approach to the game and boost morale. To everyone's surprise, Crazy Jodi accepted the offer. She traded her boots for football gear and hit the field with a pink gun, her unique choice of weapon to keep the team's spirit high. I obviously haven't read this yet. Crazy Jodi's antics on the field made every match entertaining and brought a smile to her teammates' faces even during tough games. During one particular game, Crazy Jodi's team was facing a rival with a strong defense. As the game approached a critical moment, she rallied her team with her infectious spirit, leading them to an unexpected victory. Her unconventional strategies and moves confounded the opponents, and her pink gun became a good luck charm for the team. Yes, but I'm also banned in a couple of states, so I don't think this is allowed. Also, fix that, states. Off the field, Crazy Jodi continued to work her magic. She landed a job in human resources, where her zany approach to resolving conflicts and bringing out the best in people was surprisingly effective. Jesus. She became the go-to person for boosting employee morale and resolving workplace disputes. One day, after a successful career in football and HR, Crazy Jodi decided to host a grand Cajun-themed party, complete with her favorite dessert, delicious bread pudding. The party was a blast, with Madonna herself making a surprise appearance as the DJ. As the night ended, Crazy Jodi looked around at the people dancing, laughing, and having the time of their lives. She realized that her journey had been more than just a series of comedic escapades. It had been about spreading joy, breaking stereotypes, and finding happiness in being unapologetically oneself. And so, Crazy Jodi's Cajun adventure continued, with each day filled with laughter, music, and the pink gun of positivity, leading a trail of smiles wherever she went. What happened? I blacked out. Did I do anything embarrassing? Why is there a blonde wig next to... Oh, did it happen again? Crap. Oh, well. Terry, thank you. Heart's back. Thank you for the super sticker. Come on, JT, let's go party. Yeah. Come on, JT, let's go party. Ooh, ooh. I don't need anybody. I can do both parts. It's fine. Whatever. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the words. It was so good. So good. Oh, man. As much as I want to... The reality is...
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
put gas in the car, according to you, right
Yes.
here, at 8:46, right?
Right.
You went inside to do that, right?
It's
think so,
shameless, is
yes.
what it is.
Well, no, it says initial payment. You can't pay at the pump, right?
Sometimes you can, but I don't know
Well, you
about a
think you can pay at the
prepayment.
pump there, right?
If I remember correctly, I don't know about ARCO. So, I mean, I prepaid is what I know.
Yeah, you did prepay, and you prepaid inside, didn't you?
Objection, ask and answer.
Bye.
Sustain.
Well, ma'am, let's just get to the bottom of this. You say that you don't know. It's 237.012. Do you see right here?
Oh, yes. Clerk.
Well, let me just ask the question.
I'm tour guide Barbie.
It's clerk 2525, right?
Yes.
That means you went inside, right?
I don't know.
Gas station.
I would guess.
Does that mean while at the
Well,
Oasis?
did you go inside?
I know I went inside at one point, but I don't know which payment I went inside for. So,
And 237.011, you see a clerk there anywhere?
no.
And then, 4 minutes later, I'm sorry, it's 2046 and 2053, which is 7 minutes later.
Dang it, Bobby.
So
This is my
237.012,
lawn.
you see the time there, right? 2046,
Step
right?
on it.
Yes.
And then 237.013 is 2053, you see that?
Yes.
7 minutes later, you go back inside, right?
7 minutes later from
7 minutes
the
later
8 gallons.
from
Is that what you're saying?
2046. I'm just looking at times here.
Okay.
Well, no, do you have any reason to doubt the authenticity of these records?
I
No.
got a fever.
So 7
Your
minutes later,
prescription
first of
is
all,
more
you go in
unleaded.
at 8:46 and you pay for the gas, right? With cash.
Chocolatey.
Yes.
Then, you then go back
Yes, Arias.
and you pay for more gas, right?
Yes.
And then, before that, at 8:42, you pay for more gas again, right?
Yes.
You really, what you're doing, man, is actually filling up the 2 5-gallon gas cans first. Aren't you doing that first?
I don't know if I filled them,
Okay.
but I don't remember what order I did.
And after you filled that, you filled up the third gas can, didn't you?
I didn't have a third.
Daggone.
And before you did all of that, you put gas in your car, right?
I don't remember what order I did it.
After that, well, still in Pasadena, you decided to go to a Starbucks, right?
You guys, you all had the same idea.
Yes.
You're the best.
And that was around 9 o'clock in the evening, right?
Somewhere that sounds right.
Well, that's what you told us. Can you give us a closer approximation?
No.
So you go there, and one of the things that you said is that you've got a strawberry drink, something like that?
Yeah, strawberry frappuccino.
And while you were there, you call Mr. Burns, right?
I don't know if I called him from Starbucks, but I know we talked a few times that night.
And the plan was still for you to go up to Utah, right?
Yes.
And if you were to leave Pasadena at about the time that you said that you were going to leave, you would have arrived up in the West Jordan area at about maybe 10, 11 o'clock the next morning, right?
If I drove straight through, I think that's right.
It's about a 12-hour drive, I think is what you testified to, right?
That sounds right, yes.
But in talking to Mr. Burns, you never told him that you were not going to go straight to Utah, did you?
Judge, I have a question about that.
Overruled.
No, because I was going to go.
So the answer is no, you didn't, right?
No, I didn't tell him that.
In any
You
conversations
object with a
prior
double negative.
to arriving in Mesa
Amarillo
night,
by morning.
or the next morning, you never communicated to Mr.
I've
Burns
been there.
that
I
you were
stayed
going to take a
overnight there
detour,
once.
did you?
No, I
On the
didn't.
way across the country.
And you never contacted Matthew McCartney to tell him that you were going to take a detour, right?
I attempted to contact him before I decided to drive out to Mesa, I think. think.
Answer is you didn't let him know though, right?
No, he didn't answer.
The bottom line is he didn't know either, right?
That's right.
And Mr. Brewer, you didn't call to let him know that either, right?
I think I called him too. I called both of them because I couldn't find my car charger or my phone charger. It was a phone charger.
You called both of them, but you didn't let either of them know of the change in plans, correct?
Say that again.
You called both of them at whatever time, but you never informed either of them of the change in plans, your supposed change in plans, right?
Yes, that's correct.
One of the things that you took on this trip, of course, was the gas cans, right?
Yes, I did.
Right. The other thing that you took when you took this trip was that you also brought a gun, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
Well, do you remember having a conversation on June 10th of 2008 with Detective Florence of the Mesa Police Department?
And boom goes the dynamite.
You initiated that call by calling him first, right?
Yes, I did.
And after you called him, he called you back, right?
Yes.
And I think previously you said, well, I called him to sort of find out what was going on with the investigation, right?
Give me
Yes.
five. Give me
That was one of the reasons, right?
Yes.
You wanted to know what was going on, right?
Yes.
And during that conversation, you and he discussed a number of things, right?
Yes.
And during
I
that
did
time
not
that you
remember that
were
loud.
talking to him, part of the purpose was, at that time, again, not only to get information, but the way you put it was to also sort of cast suspicion away from you, right?
Yes, for the time being. That was
Well, that phone call, one of your objectives was to get the detective to look somewhere else, right? Not you.
yes.
And we know the reasons, but some of the reasons was that you didn't want to be incarcerated or be involved in the prosecution for this particular killing, right?
That would be accurate.
And so what you were doing, part of this telephone call, was in your best interest. In other words, you were trying to do things that benefited you, right?
I wouldn't put it like that.
Well, you were doing things so that he wouldn't see you as a suspect, right?
Yes.
So if he didn't see you as a suspect, that would benefit you, right?
I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Well, no, I'm asking how you would look at it. If you don't want him to think of you as a suspect, that's the goal. That's part of the goal, right?
That was part of the goal for the call.
Right. That was part of the goal for the call. And so you wouldn't say anything, at least in a planned way, you wouldn't say anything that would make it look like you were a suspect, right?
I would attempt to not say anything.
Right. And it would be based on the
Come
world
on,
of knowledge that you
Anakin.
had at that time, right?
I'm so lost without you. I need three
I
or
guess.
four
Well,
cans
no,
to
you
fill
wouldn't
up
call up and
along
say,
the
oh, I was the
way.
person that killed Mr. Alexander. You're not calling to say that, right?
God, that was
No,
my
I
first
wasn't ready to
concert,
say
y'all.
that.
No. And you're not calling to say, you really should look at this part of the desert because that's where I threw the gun, right?
No.
No, what you were trying to do is you were trying to say, look, I'm giving you all the information
birthday.
that I know so that you can look at somebody else, right?
I wasn't thinking of somebody else, just I was thinking not me.
All right, I'm giving you this information so that you don't look towards me, right?
Yes.
So when you are doing that, you wouldn't purposely say things to hurt you, would you? Hurt your case.
I don't know.
You think that you would purposely say things to hurt your case?
Probably not. That wasn't really my goal.
No, that wasn't your goal, so you really wouldn't, would you? But you, really, right?
They don't need those stations to track.
I didn't consider it
all up in
my case,
software.
but no, I wouldn't say things intentionally to hurt myself.
Okay, but you and he did talk about whether or not Mr. Alexander owned the gun, right?
Yes, I did.
And
It is around
at that
me.
time, you did not know that you were being tape recorded, or do you?
I assumed I was.
You assumed it was, but you didn't know, right?
I was told it was.
Who told you that it was? Did the detective tell you in advance?
An attorney told me.
In advance of you making the call?
Yes,
So you knew before you made the call that your conversation with the detective was going to be taped, right?
they said they are, yes.
So all the more reason then, knowing that it's going to be taped, it's all the more reason for you to be on the lookout, if you will, or be careful
Anytime I see your
to
face,
not say
close my
anything
eyes and I am
to,
taken to a place.
you
I
know,
wanna stay with you on the
incriminate you.
mountain.
Yes.
Right? And so knowing that, you still made a statement about a gun, didn't you?
Yes, I didn't follow the attorney's counsel.
I'm not asking you whether or not you followed anybody's counsel. I'm just asking you, ma'am, whether or not.
Okay, I want to talk about this for 1 second because this drives me nuts. First off, thank you so very much for the super chat. She's something else. So cheers to everybody who's hanging in there. But I do want to talk about this for a second. One of their biggest songs is Beautiful, or What Makes You Beautiful, and the whole purpose of that song is to say what makes you beautiful is that you don't know that you're beautiful. Therefore, the fact that I've written a song telling you that you're beautiful means you now know that you're beautiful. Therefore, you are no longer beautiful. Speaking of music, my brother reminded me of this story. We're taking a break from the gas for a second. My brother reminded me of this story. We were doing like a summer camp, and you ever say something where you're like, as soon as it comes out of your mouth, you're like, this is absolutely the wrong thing that I just said. Well, I was trying to brag at the fact that I was listening to music when I was, younger, for older people. Not really older people, to be honest with you. But I was trying to brag that I was listening to music that people hadn't really brought up. And I totally got the name wrong. And so what I was trying to say was Alanis Morissette. And I did not say that. I had approached the group, listened to them, and I was like, yeah, but have you guys listened to like Alanis? I said, Alanis. I said, have you guys listened to Alanis Moreno? That was not right. It was not right. And to this day, as you can tell, my brother has never let me live it down. Alanis Moreno. It was one step off of Alanis Moreno. But alas. Freudian slips.
You made a statement involving a gun.
Yes, I did.
And it isn't like Detective Flores came looking for you, right?
Holly Berry.
You mean physically?
Thank you for the super
He
sticker.
never called you first, right?
First, no, he didn't.
No, you were the one that actually sought him out, right?
Yes.
And he returned your call, right?
Yes.
At that point, for all you knew, he didn't even know that you even existed, for all you knew, right?
No, I already knew that he knew.
Well, how could you possibly know what he knows, ma'am?
I was going off of hearsay.
Well, but you don't really, it's what people tell you, but you don't know what he really knows, do you?
Do I know what he knows inside his head? No, I don't. But I knew that he knew about my name.
No, that's what you believe, but you don't know,
They're really
right?
good.
That's what I had a strong belief.
All right, and so you made a statement, and that statement is Exhibit 273. Let's listen to it.
All right. Can I call you again if I need more information, or if I have another question? Do you have any questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, do you know when all this happened? I mean, I got a call last night, but is there any word on?
Sometime between Thursday and last night. We're not sure yet. We haven't pinpointed yet.
And you said that maybe multiple people, because he's a big guy. Maybe you can't talk about this, but was there like any kind of weapons used, or was there a gun? Was there?
I can't say what type of weapon was used, but yeah, I'm guessing there was a weapon used by the type of injuries that were left behind. Do you know of him having any weapons at all in the house?
His two fists.
That's it?
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. No handguns or rifles or.
No, he wasn't one to keep any of that I knew of.
Fighting
He's
knives
good.
or anything like that.
No, he was more into like wrestling and UFC, and he had he said he had just bought a punching bag, and he's like, I love doing the crap out of my punching bag,
That's what
That was you on that recording, correct?
Correct.
Somebody who taught
And
for
that
me when
was
I was
you
program
talking to
director
the
of Liberal Arts. He
detective
wrote
about
the
whether or
book,
not Mr. Alexander
Jagged Little
had
Pill,
any handguns,
in
right?
attachment
That's right.
with the musical.
And that was you saying at that
Eric
time,
Smith,
the day
great author.
after you
Love
were
him.
notified that his
Great
body was
dude, too.
discovered. That's you saying, no, he doesn't have any guns, right?
Yes, that's right.
And that was the truth,
September.
wasn't it?
No, that wasn't the truth.
Are you saying that you lied to him again?
Yes.
So whenever it doesn't suit you, it's a lie, right?
That's not true.
Well, let's review. When you spoke to him back then in June 10th of 2008, you talked about a lot of other things, right? You talked about what was going on with the case, right?
What little he could tell me, yes.
And what little you could tell him, right?
Yes.
You talked about your relationship with Mr. Alexander, right?
Somewhat, yes.
Right,
We didn't get into a lot of detail.
right. You talked about potentially when his body was found, right? Or when it happened, right?
Yes.
And it's clear from what the detective was saying that at that point, he didn't even know when the killing had occurred, right?
He gave a time range.
Actually, he said it Thursday. Do you remember him saying Thursday?
Yes,
It wasn't Thursday that it happened, right?
that's correct.
So when he said Thursday, you knew he was wrong, right?
I thought he was lying, but yeah.
Well, but you know, you knew that was wrong,
I knew
correct?
that was not true.
You had all the cards when you called, or you had all the information when you called the detective. Isn't that true?
Barring my memory gaps, what I knew, yeah, I had information.
You knew that you had been the person that had killed him. You knew that, right?
Yeah,
You know that you had been there on June 4th, right?
yes,
You know what had happened when you arrived there, right?
yes,
So you knew all of that when you were talking to the detective there, right?
that's right.
And one of the things that you didn't know at that particular time was how the case was going to eventually unfold, how matters were eventually going to unfold, right?
Well, I had a good idea, just
What,
details.
you're
no.
saying you had a good idea, but you're not a prognosticator of the future, are you?
No.
No one is, right?
I guess not. I don't know.
And so you really didn't know how things were going to unfold. So at that point, you didn't know what was going to be important, right?
I wasn't
Thank you,
thinking
Peter, for
along those
gifting a
lines.
membership.
Well, you said you had a goal
Congrats to
to
Historic
point
Publishing
the investigation away from you,
for
right?
becoming
That was one goal, right?
For the time being, yes.
of the
And
call.
then on the 15th of July, when they spoke to you, you said you weren't even there, right?
Yes, I did.
And then on the 16th, you said it was some other people that, a man and a woman that had come in and done it, right?
That's correct.
And for the longest time, that's what you maintained, right? For a couple of years, right?
Yes.
So the point being that back then, you didn't know what your defense was going to be back on June 10th of 2008 when you made that comment.
I don't really know what you mean by that.
Well, you didn't know it was going to be important back then in 2008, this issue involving the gun. And that's why when he asked you about it, you said, no, he doesn't have any guns, because it wasn't important at that point because you couldn't foresee the future.
That's not why I said that.
Well, you said it though, right?
Yes, I did.
And there was no indication that, for example, that it was a lack of sophistication on your part in saying that.
Yep, nope.
It was a calculated statement.
It was a calculated statement, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it wasn't a situation where it was a technique by the police officer, was it?
Objection to officer speculation. She doesn't have.
Sustained.
Well, one of the things that were you here when Detective Flores testified?
Yes.
And the issue of techniques was discussed, correct?
Yes.
At that time, when you called him you were the person that was actually, for lack of a better term, running the conversation.
I wouldn't,
Also speculation again regarding techniques.
I wouldn't say I was running the conversation.
You could have stopped that at any time, right?
Yes,
If we compare it to July 15th, on July 15th, you couldn't have walked out, right?
I could have stopped the conversation, but not walked out.
Right, you could have stopped it, but you could have, whereas in this case, not only could you have stopped the conversation, but you could have walked and done whatever it is that you wanted, right?
That day, yes.
Right, then that's the day that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
And if you would have wanted to ask him more questions, it's clear that he would have talked to you more, right?
Yes.
And on that date, on June 10th of 2008, if you would have wanted to tell him that you knew more about it, he would have listened to you, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Objection calls for speculation.
Do you think, ma'am, that if, in your opinion, that you could, based on what you feel about the conversation, do you feel that if you were going to tell Officer Flores about what you knew had happened on June 4th, do you think that you would have been stopped from talking?
Yep, I know bread.
No, I don't think so.
Right, he would have listened to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you made that particular statement on that day, right?
Yes.
And it's because it is the truth, right?
No, it's not the truth.
You and Mr. Alexander never went shooting any guns, right?
No.
And you never saw Mr. Alexander with that gun in his hand, ever, did you? Any gun in his hand, right?
That's not true.
So you did see him with guns in his hand when you were with him.
At one time I did, yes.
And were the guns his?
It was not guns plural, it was one gun and it was his.
So he had a gun back then?
Yes.
When was this?
I discovered it in the fall 2007.
No. I'm asking in terms of Mr. Alexander being the owner of a gun. When do you say that you knew he was the owner of a gun?
The fall 2007.
Is this the gun that we're talking about that you claim was used in the shooting?
It is the one.
That's what you claim, right?
Yes.
And with regard to that particular gun, you said that you supposedly found it somewhere. Where was the ammunition for it?
Inside the gun.
Inside where?
I guess it was inside the gun.
Do you even know if it was loaded?
He told me it was not loaded. But
So you don't even know if it was loaded, and you claim that he told you it wasn't loaded, right?
in the fall when I found it, he said it was not loaded.
Okay, so you believe it's not loaded, and you haven't received any statements to the contrary, right?
No, he took it one night when he was,
So you haven't received any statements to the contrary, right?
from him, I did receive statements to the contrary.
But knowing that then, according to you, now you say that he had a gun in 2007, got on the phone and you said, no, Mr. Alexander didn't have any weapons, or no, any guns. You said that specifically, right?
Yes.
And now you come in and you tell us that, yes, he does have guns, or at least one gun, right?
At least one that yeah.
Right. Your grandfather also had guns, didn't he?
Yes, he had rifles and shotguns.
And he also had smaller guns too, didn't he?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Not plural.
Okay, he had a small gun then, right?
I don't know what it was.
Well, do you remember?
How small it was.
Pardon?
I don't know how small it was.
Well, was it one of those big, long ones with the big, long barrel?
Those are the only kinds I'd ever seen.
Right, so when you spoke to the detective about the gun that could have possibly been taken
Driving
in
down
the
the road,
burglary,
with disaster.
you indicated that it was a toy gun. Do you remember telling him that it looked like a toy gun?
No, I indicated that's what my grandfather said.
Right, and do you have any reason to doubt your grandfather's word?
No.
So the gun that was taken, there was a burglary of the house you were staying at back on May 28th of 2008, wasn't there?
Yes.
And during that burglary, there were certain things that were taken from your
Almost saw that.
room, right?
I think only, yeah, that's
What was taken from your room? What is it that you reported that was taken?
$10 and $20 bill.
So there was a total of $30 that were taken, right?
Yes. Yes.
It wasn't, your laptop wasn't taken, right?
No, my laptop was with me.
Well, I thought, do you remember that you actually told the police officers that you were pretty lucky because your laptop was in a hamper sort of thing and the clothes were covering it and it had not been stolen? Do you remember telling that to the officers?
No, I remember there was a discussion regarding the laptop and I told him I was lucky that I had it with me because normally I keep it in this hamper.
you were here when the officer that went out there testified, right?
Yes.
And you looked at the photographs, right?
Yes.
And so you're saying that you actually had the laptop with you, right?
Yes.
And you were driving around with this laptop, according to you,
It
right?
goes everywhere with me, yes.
So you took it everywhere, you didn't leave it behind, right?
That's correct.
And nothing else was taken from your room, right?
That I noticed, yes.
Well, the officers gave you plenty of time to look around, right?
After they were done, like doing what they do, yeah, I looked around.
You're saying that they didn't give you an opportunity to go into your room to see what was missing in order to report it? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
So they did allow you to go into the rooms then, into the room?
Yes.
To look. And you were there until approximately 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
No.
So you were there later?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, were you
So
there
good.
later than 1 o'clock?
No,
He was
So you were there at 1 o'clock then, right?
I was there at
older
1 o'clock.
Little Brew
but I
Crime's
wasn't
first
there
concert.
like all day. the
He
way
doesn't remember
you
much.
asked.
Right.
Yep.
You were there approximately at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes, my sister and I.
And before but when the detective or the officer testified, was there ever a mention of your sister while you were here?
I don't remember if he asked me or not, if he,
No. When the officer from Wairika testified, was there ever a mention of your sister?
when he testified, no, I don't think so.
Not at all, right?
No.
In fact, what
There was
happened
much
was
rejoicing.
that you were out of the house and you were called to respond there, right?
I think there was a voicemail left, yes.
But you were called in any event, right?
Yes.
And you indicated to the police that you had been there, the last one to be there at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes.
And boom goes the
And,
dynamite.
and you actually came back sometime after 3 o'clock, right?
I don't remember what time I came back. I just came back as soon as my sister checked her voicemail.
And I know that, so if he said 3 o'clock, then you would have no quibble with it, right?
Sure. No quibble.
Right? And you heard what items were taken, including a .25 caliber handgun. You heard that, right?
Yes, I heard that.
And you also indicated to the detective that the .25 caliber handgun that your grandfather had, according to him, was like a toy gun, right?
Yes.
And at that time, you had a purse, right?
Yes, I did.
And in fact, this is what you carried your items in, right?
Turn back time.
And this purse, this toy gun purse, could have fit in your purse, right?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
So, how about the gun that you used to kill Mr. Alexander? How big was that gun?
It wasn't very big.
Looked like a toy gun, right?
It looked like a real gun to me.
Well, and it could fit in your purse, couldn't it?
If I removed some other items, it would fit.
So the answer is yes, it could fit in your purse, right?
Yes.
So this occurred on May 28th of 2008, shortly before you left on your trip, right?
The burglary, yes.
And this is during the time, 10 days after you've had this telephone conversation with Mr. Alexander, right?
10 days after what conversation?
The sex conversation that you had on the telephone, which was on the
It would have been
18 days, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So it's 18 days later, right?
Yes.
And so you are still having conversations with Mr. Alexander, correct?
Yes.
And you indicate that, well, I really wasn't going to go visit him, right?
That was not the plan when I hit the road.
Right, that's what you said. That was not the plan to go down there. Yet, when you get to Southern California, you're now at the Starbucks, right?
Yes.
And you're at the Starbucks and you are sitting around drinking your strawberry frappuccino, right?
No, I just went in and then came out.
Okay, and in the time that it took for you to go in and come out, something happened to your car, according to you, right?
Yes.
There was another series of coincidences here,
Well,
right?
I think it was that time that happened.
Well, no, that's what you sort of indicated on direct examination, that's when you think it happened, right?
Yes.
How long were you inside of Starbucks?
I'd say 5 to 10 minutes. I used the restroom. There was a long line, and then after I got my drink, I waited for it to be made, and then I went back out to my car
Right.
to get on the road.
And according to you, then you came out to your car, right?
Yes.
And when you came out to your car, you indicated that there were some skaters there, right?
Yes.
And about what time of the day was that?
It was at night.
So what time at night?
I don't know. It was, I don't know, sometime between 9 and 10. I don't know. It wasn't too late, but it was at night.
And while you're there, when you come out, you see that there are these skaters laughing near your car, correct?
Not like laughing loud, just kind of snickering.
So they were snickering near your car, right?
As they were skating away from my car.
Right. And there were other cars in the parking lot, right?
Yes.
And it was a pavement kind of parking lot, right?
Yes.
It wasn't dirt or anything like that. And one of the things that you notice when you get into your car is that you see something in front of you, right?
Yes.
And you decide to investigate, right?
Yes.
And were you pulled in, ma'am?
Yes, I was pulled in forward.
You were pulled in forward and there was a sidewalk in front of you?
The sidewalk wasn't directly in front of me, but there was a curb.
So there was a curb and your bumper's right next or in front of that, right?
That's right.
And you're coming out from the Starbucks, which is presumably on the sidewalk, which is what you're calling the curb, right?
No, but the Starbucks would have been behind and to the right of the vehicle.
Okay. So there was this curb there, and you see these individuals. How many were they?
I think there were 3.
And you then, is it well lit? This area, is it well lit?
There are lights in the parking lot.
And you go and you get in your car and you turn the car on and you're getting ready to leave, right?
That's right.
And as you get ready to leave, you turn your lights on, right?
Yes.
And as you turn your lights on, something catches your eye, right?
Not till I began to back out.
Okay, so you begin to back out and something catches your eye, right?
Yes.
Why do you care that something's out in front of you if you don't know anything about your license plate? Why would you even care?
Because it was a reflector. It was reflective, and I just kind of put the two together, like, maybe I should check what that is real quick before I hit the road.
And when you're saying it's a reflector, are you talking about the registration tags that they put on the back of, or on the license plates?
This is a great
No.
Sweeney Todd right
What
now.
kind of reflector are you talking about?
Nailing
It
it.
was kind of like it just lit up more, like it reflected a lot more than anything else around it. The pavement was dull. It was lit, but like by my headlights, but not like this thing that was bright.
And it was flat though, right?
It was just a flash, so
No. The object was flat,
I want
correct?
to listen to some.
I didn't see until I got out that it was a flat license plate.
So when you're in a car, you don't even know it's a license plate, right?
No, not till I get out to investigate.
So that means that as you're backing up, you see this something that catches your eye, right?
Yes,
And it's about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, right?
yes,
And you decide to go look at it, right?
yes,
And so you look at it and you decide it's a license plate, right?
yes.
Well, ma'am, why take it?
Because I looked right at, well, I pulled back in, turned my car off, and then I looked at my license plate, it had bugs all over the front, minus where the license plate was, and I had just driven some 500-600 miles from Wairika, or
Right.
Reading, and then the license plate that I was holding had a
Right.
ton of bugs of the same kind of like
Sure,
amount. So
Right.
I just kind of threw it in my car and left.
right. But you never thought to compare it to the one in the back, did you?
No,
In other words, you're taking a license plate that you have no idea whether or not it belongs to you, right?
no, I have an idea.
Well, wait a minute. You didn't check it with the one in the back?
No,
And license plates have numbers and letters on them, right?
yes,
This one had numbers and letters on it, right?
yes,
It could be that it belonged to somebody else, right?
I know it's
that's
you.
possible.
Sure it was,
But I
because
wanna
you
listen
didn't
to
take the
some.
time, according to you, to go to the back to see whether or not it matched, right?
No,
I also
And
want to
so
listen
what
to
you
some.
do is, potentially, without knowing what it's about, you grab it, right?
I
You
had
know
an
me,
idea
your
what it's
music.
about, so I can't say that I didn't know.
Well, you grab it, right?
Yes,
You guys
You
have
take it
music
without
or
checking.
art
yes,
or
And then you put it in the car, right?
yes.
You put it in the back
raps
seat of the
or
car,
whatever.
right?
Email
No,
me.
I think it was in the
Email me
front
the link.
floorboard.
So you put it in the front
I'd
seat
like
of
to
the car,
feature you
right?
guys.
The
It'd be a
floorboard.
fun
The
night
floorboard.
court thing.
This dirty license plate that has all these bugs on it, right?
Yes.
Email me
You decide to go ahead and take it anyway, right?
your stuff.
Yes.
I'll
And
obviously
did it
preview
ever
it.
occur to you to
and then,
investigate the license
try and
plate in the
feature-
back to see whether or
feature
not
it.
it matched?
Not right then. I was more concerned about getting in my car and locking the doors.
Pardon?
I was more concerned about getting in my car and locking the doors.
Because you were concerned for your safety, right?
Somewhat, yes.
Well, if you're concerned for your safety, why are you getting out to go check on something that is just shining there?
Well, because I didn't know, I wasn't concerned until I realized that that had happened, so.
Well, no, but if you're concerned for your safety, why are you getting out and exposing yourself?
I didn't get out after the concern arose.
Overruled. Sorry. Is there an objection? Stop speaking until the court rules.
Okay.
You may continue.
I didn't get out until the concern.
Let me ask it again. If you are afraid for, you told us that you were afraid.
Can you answer the question before he interjects?
Restate your question.
You indicated that you were afraid for your safety. That's why you didn't check the front license plate, the license plate that you found with the one in the back, right?
No, I indicated that getting in the car and locking the doors was what was on my.
Sorry. Darn it, Juan. I said that if any of you have music tracks, like if you have music or if you have art or if you have crafts that you do or an Etsy or whatever, send it to my email address, the link or a file or whatever. I'll preview it. And if I can, I will definitely try to feature it on Night Court. I think it's important to try and not only push good causes, but, and I've always said this, I believe in supporting good people. And that includes you all. And I would like to do that. So send me some stuff to my email. I don't know if we put up the command already. But yes, please, please, please. Yeah, for sure. So definitely. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I missed it. You can email me. JT at 13thjurorpodcast.com. So send it to me. Dee Dee, you said something about art. Let's see here. You can absolutely do art stuff and send it in. You can take a picture of it and send it. Also, I'd love to plaster my walls with everybody's artwork if I can. So, yes. Ba-da-ba-da. There it is.
Mine. Checking it with the back didn't occur to me.
But I asked you about it, and just now you said, well, I got in the car, I locked the doors, and I was sort of in a hurry to do that because you were worried about your safety. You said that, right?
It was a concern. It wasn't, I wasn't like scared or anything, but it was a concern.
Right. It was such a concern that you did it quickly, right?
I locked the doors quickly, yes.
Yeah, and you turned the car on quickly. That's what you just told us, right?
Yes.
But you were not so concerned about your safety that when you saw something that you didn't even know what it was, you got out to investigate, right?
Not initially, that's correct.
Well, you didn't know what it was initially, right?
I didn't know it was a license plate, so no.
Right. You just said that you thought it was something shiny, right?
Yeah, reflective.
You see something shiny, you're concerned for your safety, and you're backing out, and you're in a place of safety already, aren't you?
You said I'm concerned for my safety, but as I was doing that, I wasn't concerned for my safety.
Man, when you're in the car and you're backing out, and you see this reflective thing, or thing that's reflecting, you are in a place of safety at that point, aren't you?
Parking lot at night, public place, it's pretty safe, I guess.
No, I'm talking inside of the car with the doors locked. You're in a place of safety then, right?
Yes.
So that if anybody's coming at you, if you're concerned, you could just gun it and drive away, right?
I'd have to keep backing out, but yes, I could drive away.
Sure, you're in a position of, if you will, of power at that point because you can back up, right?
Yes.
And you can move forward, correct?
No, I couldn't move forward, but after backing up, yes.
Yeah, sure. And you could leave if you wanted to, right?
Yes.
But instead of doing that, even though you're concerned for your safety, you see something that you can't identify, right?
I was not concerned for my safety at that point. That's the distinction.
Well, you still see something that's really just something that reflects, correct?
That's correct.
And you said that it was flat, right?
I just saw a bright flash when my headlights hit it.
Gone over this 3 or 4 times.
How can you tell us that you saw anything reflective, ma'am, if the reflective materials on the license plate are on the top of it and you said it was flat? How could you have seen it?
Because it was angled on the curb. It's still flat, but it's still reflected on the lights.
Didn't you tell us when we started this talk that it was flat? Didn't you just tell us that a little bit earlier?
Yes, it's still
And so
flat.
if it's flat, the reflective material on a license plate, would you agree it's on the top?
Only-
Just asking us to end argumentative.
Overruled.
Only if it would have been laying flat.
You just made
but
the
that
list.
wasn't the case.
But isn't that what you told us to start with?
No,
You told us something, according to you, you told us something else.
I didn't tell you that.
Well, let me do this. The front of the car where you looked to see where your license plate was,
Thank you,
Yes.
Karma.
you saw that, right?
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
It was flat, wasn't it?
On the
Appreciate it a
front of my
lot.
car?
Yes.
Yes, it
Where it
was.
would go, so that if there was a license plate that was there, it would also be flat, correct?
Yes, the license plate was flat.
Right. And if a license plate is taken off and thrown or done something to, if that license plate is put on the ground, it would either, if it's flat, would either lay
I need to
face
stop playing
down,
with my microphone.
flat, or face up, flat,
That's what my
correct?
mom
If it
told
was in
me.
that position, that is correct.
You're saying that, you told me previously that you saw it laying down on the sidewalk. Do you remember that?
No, I remember saying there was no sidewalk there, just a curb.
Okay, that it was laying on the curb, right?
It was leaning on the curb.
So it was leaning on the curb. Was it, you're saying now that the reflective part was leaning on the curb?
Yes, well, there's a curb, but there's a little bumper, so your car doesn't drive forward. It was on that, against that bumper thing.
So it's like the cinder block, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's what it would be called.
And this is the cinder block that you told us that you parked the wheels of your car up against, right?
I don't know that I touched the cinder block with the wheels, but I pulled into that space.
Well, yeah, you told us that the front of the car came up to the sidewalk area. Do you remember just telling us that?
There is no sidewalk there.
Or it came up to the area where the cinder block was. Do you remember telling us that?
Yes,
Objection, relevance, yes.
Overruled.
So if you came up to the cinder block with the front of your car, which is what you told us, right?
yes,
And this is the cinder block right here, and this is your car. What you are now telling us is that that license plate, as you backed up, is now leaning, standing up on the inside portion of the cinder block so that when you back away, it flashes, right?
that's where it was.
So what you're telling us is that whoever did this took the time to not only take the license plate off, but also took the time to crawl underneath the car, because you now have the bumper there, and put it down inside the cinder block.
Objection calls for speculation as to what somebody did when they removed her license plate.
Rephrase, the stand.
The car, you told us, was pulled up against the cinder block. Do you remember when we talked, when we started this, that's what you told me?
I said it was pulled into that space.
No, you told us that it was up against the cinder block. Do you remember telling us that?
I remember.
Objection, mischaracterizes her testimony, Your Honor.
Sustained, rephrase.
And when you were pulled in, right?
Yes,
And then you said that you went into this Starbucks, right?
yes,
And the car, as we're talking about it, there were some people around it when you came out, right?
when I came out, there were some kids, yes.
They were not near the front of your car, right?
I don't know. I didn't see them like in the front crouched down or anything
Right.
like that.
You said they were already kind of gone, right?
They were snickering and starting to skate away from my car.
And you didn't think anything of it, right?
I didn't give it any deep thought.
And the front of the car was next to the cinder block, right?
Well, yeah, next to would be accurate.
Right. And the license plate, as you describe it, was standing towards the driver of the cinder block, right?
It was leaning, so yes. That was
So it was leaning,
on the-
right?
Yeah, on my side.
And so as you're backing up, right? It
Yes.
flashes, right?
That's correct.
And you said, oh, you just told us. I didn't know what it was. You remember telling us that?
Yes,
How can you tell us that you didn't know what it was if it's standing up, leaning, and it's got numbers and it's reflective? How can you tell us you don't know what it is?
I'm nearsighted and I didn't get glasses until 2010.
You're not nearsighted.
Now you're saying that you're
not
driving and your
nearsighted at all.
perception is so bad that you can't see that it's a license plate?
I didn't really see what it was. That's why I got out to investigate.
It was square. Couldn't you see that?
It was rectangular.
Okay, it was rectangular. And it was flashing.
No.
Couldn't you see that?
Yeah, it made a reflection.
So that's how you know that that's what caught your attention, right?
The bright flash caught me.
Right. And so as you're backing out, we know, or you've driven in California before, right?
Yes.
You know that license plates are reflective, right?
Yes, I do.
And in fact, on one side, they have numbers and letters, right?
Yes.
And the numbers are different colors than the background, right? Or the numbers and letters are different color than the background, right?
Yes, the back is technically white, usually.
Right, exactly. And so you're familiar with that, and you're saying that as you're backing up, the lights are on this rectangular object that's got numbers or letters, whatever they are, and it's got bugs on it, and you're backing up and your headlights are on, and you say you don't know what it is?
She said she got out to investigate 3 times now.
Sustained. We are going to take the afternoon recess, ladies and gentlemen. Please be back in the jury room at 3:25, and we will start promptly at that time. Please remember the admonition, you are excused.
When you were at this
hey, look, we're back.
Starbucks, had you already called Mr. Alexander or not?
I don't think so.
So you called him after the Starbucks, and that's when you gave him the news that you were going to come out to Mesa, correct?
I called him twice. I can't remember because I called him and I texted him. So it was around that time, but it was after I left Starbucks and the gas station, I believe.
And so it was after that you then tell him the news that you are going to go, right? Come to Mesa, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that you told us that the reason that you came out here was that he had an ability to, according to you, to just basically guilt you into doing things, right?
Yeah, but in a sweet way.
Well, guilt is guilt, whether it's sweet or bittersweet, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And so it's not a very positive thing to be guilted into something, right?
I don't know.
Pardon?
I kind of felt good when he was doing it.
So was it something that your voluntary will was overcome by just him asking?
No, it was my voluntary will was not overcome.
And in fact, he was sweet about it, right?
Yes.
It wasn't like he was mean about it, right?
No.
And you called him. Why call him after you've already gassed up and everything and you're on your way to Utah? Why call him if you've already made the decision to go to Utah? Why give him a call?
Why? Because as I was calling him prior to the trip, he kept, guilting me would be the term. And to be honest, it was flattering and I enjoyed hearing it.
So prior to you ever initiating the trip, you and he talk about this trip, right?
Prior to initiating the whole road trip or just the
Right.
part to
Prior to
Arizona?
initiating the trip, you told us that he called you and you told him about it.
Yes.
And you indicated that he was guilting you into coming to Mesa, right?
Yes.
And you also indicated that, well, because of that, that's the reason why you changed your mind, right?
Yes.
So it took approximately 2 days for you to change your mind after he talked to you, right?
No, he found out about a week before.
So in other words, it was a week before that he laid the guilt trip on you.
The first time, yes.
So he laid the guilt trip on you more than once.
Not really.
Yes.
And the last time was before you left on the trip, right?
Thank you, Indy Sandy.
Yes.
We're literally.
And so it isn't like while you
didn't know
were
you were
on
going
the
off on a
trip that he's
journey
calling you and
of an
saying,
Did you?
come out to Mesa, right? He's not doing that according to your testimony.
We talked, but he wasn't calling me.
Right. But
One moment.
you talk, but it's not like he's telling you when you talk, hey, come see me, is he?
When I'm on the road?
Right.
Yes, absolutely he is.
Oh, so he's also guilting you then, right?
Yes.
And it's something that you keep saying that he keeps guilty. That's the phrase that you're using, right?
Yes.
And you smiled there like it was something pleasant,
Yeah, he was very sweet about it.
right? And so, did he guilt you before getting to Pasadena?
Every time we talked, he did. I don't remember all the times. I was bored on the road and I called a lot of people.
And so, the last time that you talked to him before the Starbucks was when?
Sometime on the road, I don't remember.
And would it be between Salinas and Pasadena?
I think so.
And during that time, he guilted you, right?
Yes.
If he keeps guilting you from the beginning,
Looks like
well,
5
and you're
more
going
days.
on this
5
trip
more
to
days?
see an individual by the name of Ryan Burns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a romantic interest in Mr. Burns, right?
Potential romantic interest.
All right, potential romantic interest in Mr. Burns, right?
Yes.
And so you're on this trip to do the PPL
This
thing,
video
right?
of Cross.
Yes.
And you're
next
doing the
video
Ryan
is
Burns thing,
conclusion of
right?
Cross.
Yes.
Then we
And
have
you
the
have
redirect.
Mr.
and jury
Alexander guilting you, right?
Yes.
If he's guilting you and you already have another beau or
Jeepay!
another
Jeepay!
person out there, why do you keep exposing yourself to it?
Check,
Well,
please.
Travis had that effect on me, I guess you
Well-
could say.
It was because you liked it, isn't it?
I did like it.
And because you liked it, then it wasn't guilting you. If you liked it,
Well, it's the way he couched the terms, that's why I say guilt.
well, guilt implies that it's something unpleasant, right?
It's okay.
That's not what I
Yes,
meant to
ma'am.
imply, but
Oh,
Our
sure.
FTR is down again. We have technical difficulties. It will take about 3 minutes. May continue.
We were talking about your indication that Mr. Alexander guilted you into coming to Mesa, Arizona back on June 3rd or June 4th of 2008. That's what we were talking about, correct?
yes.
Now, the way you describe it, though, you're using the word guilt, but what you're actually telling us is that you were flattered that he wanted to see you.
That's true.
Nope, that's not the right
And
thing
if he's
at all.
flattered that he wants to see you, then it really isn't a guilt thing, is it?
It kind of was a thing in our relationship, so I would still call it guilt.
You called it guilt, but actually you were flattered by it, right?
Yes.
And so you decided that instead of going to see Mr. Burns, you were going to instead come to see Mr. Alexander, correct?
Yes.
And it was your decision solely, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that we know is that now in your car you have at least 12 extra gallons worth of gas, right?
Well, I have
Cross?
the 2 5s.
Well, let's do this. You have a car full of gas, correct? A tank full of gas. Right.
Yes. Mhm.
I can tell you.
You have 2 5-gallon tanks, 2 5-gallon cans full of gas, correct?
That's correct.
And then you have an extra 2 gallons.
Like 4
Um,
hours left of Cross total.
Yes, somewhere.
And these cans are in the trunk of the car, correct?
Yes.
And you're driving along, and even though you have this gas in the back of your car, you decide that you're going to stop at Desert Center and put gas in the car, right?
That's right.
And again, the purpose of you bringing the gas cans is financial, isn't it?
Initially, that was the purpose.
And so gas is supposedly
Got your
cheaper here
email.
in Arizona than it is in California, right?
That's been my experience.
So
I shall show it at
you
the
could
end.
have used the gas in the cans, but you decided not to, right?
Yes.
You also indicated when you stopped at Desert Center, well, is there a receipt for that, or did you pay cash for that?
I paid cash, and I believe there was a receipt.
So the receipt you just didn't keep, right?
I can't say I didn't keep it, but
Well, if you were going to deduct it as a business expense, you by necessity need to have it, right?
yes, but trip to Travis's was not a business expense.
Well, he also was with PPL, right?
Yes.
He also conducted trainings, right?
Yes.
And it could have been, if you went to dinner or something, and the two of you talked about PPL, it could be considered a business expense, couldn't
There's
it?
some speculation as to business deductions.
Overall.
If I wanted to cheat on my taxes, I could have used it as a business expense.
So you're saying it's okay to lie to police, but not okay to cheat on your taxes, right?
Objection argument.
So you say you didn't want to cheat on your taxes, right?
I didn't say that.
When was the last time that you filed your taxes? Before 2008?
Objection as to relevance.
Have you taken tax deductions prior to 2008 on your income taxes?
Yes.
And so, but there's no receipt that you know of right now of your stop in Desert Center, correct?
Well, there was a receipt. I don't know where it is, if it still exists.
All right. And then but do you know whether or not you paid with cash or MasterCard?
I'm pretty sure that I paid cash, but I don't remember.
All right, so you paid cash there. And then you came to California, and if we're talking about the amount of money that it takes to fill up a car.
I think he's proven the trip
if we go
through
with
the receipts. But I don't know if that's necessary, honestly.
The Winnemucca indication, that was approximately $40, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
One
I don't
of us.
remember. It was
One
somewhere in
of
that
us.
range.
It was
One
12
of
gallons,
us.
so wasn't it?
Yes.
You then came
Also, this is
to
the second day.
Arizona
during her
and you stopped in
testimony that she's
Buckeye,
worn
right?
this shirt.
Yes.
And you filled up again, right?
Yes. I think I filled that.
And again, it would be approximately or over 12 gallons, correct?
Objection, foundation. There's no evidence to that effect.
Oh, you may answer.
I think.
And given the prices that we've been seeing here, for example, in exhibit number 237, it's bad exposure, so.
Yeah, just I'll make an adjustment. On.
You see the price of gas there is $4.169 per gallon, right?
Yes.
If we round that down, what we're talking about, for example, at Desert Center, if you're putting in 12, well, here in Buckeye, did you use your MasterCard or your debit card, or did you use cash?
I'm
I
pretty
refuse to
sure
give
that I used
one
cash, but I'm not
satisfaction.
positive.
All right, let's say that you used cash. If we're then talking about 12 gallons in Desert Center at $4, that's approximately.
Objection, Your Honor, foundation, there's no evidence of how much the gas costs in Buckeye or Desert Center. He's using Pasadena numbers.
Is this a hypothetical?
Pardon?
Is this a hypothetical or you?
It is a hypothetical.
All right, overruled.
Hypothetically speaking, man, if the gallon of gas is $4 at Desert Center and you put 12 gallons of gas in it, that's $48, correct?
$4 and how many gallons? 12? Yes.
And if you do the same thing in Buckeye, that's another $48, right?
Yes.
And if we're doing the math, that's $96 total, right?
Yes.
If we add the $96 to the $85 that you've already put in California, that's approximately $181, right?
96 plus how much?
85,
How much did you say with the total?
181.
Yeah, I guess.
Assuming the math is correct, it's
Assuming the math is
$181, right?
Yes.
You told us when you left on this trip that the most you had was $200, right?
I wasn't sure, but I was guessing that was probably it.
Right? So now you're out of money, right?
Not necessarily.
Well, if you took $200 and you spent $185, you're now out of money, right?
Under this hypothesis, yes.
Okay? And you're in Arizona. You haven't even arrived at Mr. Alexander's yet, correct?
Not yet. I'm in Buckeye, I think is where we left off.
And so then you get to Mr. Alexander's house and you indicate to us that he is there and you see him, you want some videos, right?
Yes.
This issue of him guilting you, you were free to say no, correct?
Yes.
And you were free to walk away from him and his request at any time, right?
At that point in time, yes.
This was a choice that you made to go over, correct?
Yes.
And it was a choice because What, you loved him?
I still loved him, yes.
Were you in love with him? I think you make that distinction sometimes.
It wasn't the same kind. I don't really know. I wouldn't say in love in the sense that I've been in love in the past where I want to be with him forever or, you know, have a life with him, but I still had strong feelings for him.
And so from what I hear you saying, the purpose of you going there was sex then?
She's talking about love, not sex.
Rephrase, sustained.
Well, you said that you weren't in love with him anymore. You just told us that, right?
Not in the same way.
Right, exactly. You did love him, right?
Yes.
And we heard on a May 10th, 2008 conversation between the two of you, right?
May 10th, yes. That's right.
And in which you and he talked heatedly about sex, right?
Yes.
And so it appears that if you weren't in love with him and you just loved him and you were going there and based on that conversation was one of the purposes for going there on your part was to have sex with him.
That was one of the purposes.
So it wasn't like he foisted it. In other words, he forced you into anything, right?
No, nothing was forced.
And so you get there and you go to sleep, right?
Not immediately, but yes.
Shortly thereafter, correct?
Yes.
He doesn't force himself upon you, does he?
No.
In fact, what ends up happening is that you guys sleep the most of the next day away, correct?
Yes.
And you get up around sometime around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
That's when we were both awake, yes.
And presumably you eat breakfast, is that correct or not?
I don't remember eating yet.
Do you eat it when you get up at all?
After the sex, I think I had a banana and he had oatmeal or something.
So you had sex before
No, I
having
totally
breakfast,
just
correct?
Googled this.
Yes.
And
eating.
during this time is when you indicate that
I
the
also
rope
feel
is
like I'm cheating
right?
on Brandi with
Yes.
this. I'm
And
gonna close
the
it.
length of the rope that we're talking about is approximately 20 feet, right?
Objection, foundation.
Overruled.
I would say it was from me to maybe Flores, maybe slightly shorter or slightly longer.
Do you remember speaking with Mr. Samuels, Dr. Samuels, Richard Samuels?
Yes.
And in fact, you talked to him about this particular rope, right?
Yes.
You told him it was 20 feet, right?
It was a guess. I don't know how long 20 feet is.
Ma'am, you did tell him it was 20 feet, right?
I think I approximated it, but I didn't say it was exactly 20 feet.
So if he has 20 feet written down, that's not what you said.
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
I may have said 20 feet, but I was still guessing.
All right, so did you indicate to Richard Samuels that you were guessing when you said 20 feet?
I might have. We didn't measure the rope.
Pardon?
We didn't measure the rope.
All right, but it was a very long rope then, right?
Yes.
Did you also tell Richard Samuels that you and Mr. Alexander took photographs of each other?
Yes.
And did you tell him that the photographs of Mr. Alexander took while he was penetrating you and you were on top of him? Did you tell him that?
One,
No.
you gotta give
So
me.
if that's his
you
understanding,
gotta give me
that's incorrect.
No, that was the video.
a
No,
warning.
I'm asking you about whether or not you told him that.
I told him that, but not photographs,
Come
just the
next.
video.
So if he says the photographs show that,
know how hard it is
he
to
is
lead.
incorrect.
I would believe so
Wrong,
because I don't think we
wrong.
took any photos
Awesome.
in that manner.
Wow.
I couldn't figure out the timer.
So my question to you is, did you ever tell him that the photographs were taken while you were on top of him in that fashion as I previously described? Did you tell him that, yes or no? That's all I need.
I think I said video, so probably not photos.
So is the answer no?
The answer is,
Do you have enough
Photos?
for the
No.
rest of the class?
the answer is no.
No, all right. And so you said that you engaged in whatever activity you were engaging in, and at some point, you were tied up, right?
Yes.
And when you're tied up, it's loose enough so that you can get out at any time, correct?
Yes.
And you say that at some point, it's not going well, or it's not as pleasant as thought, and the ropes are cut, right?
Make sure you don't throw it away.
The knife.
No, the ropes were cut prior to being tied up so that we could measure out for the nooses.
My 4-year-old
and-
knows 75% of that
So
by
in
heart.
terms of when you're done
Right.
using the ropes, didn't you indicate previously that they were cut off of you?
No, I could slip my wrists in and out.
So you slipped your wrists out.
Yes.
And so in other words, The rope is there. You guys are using it. Where the piece that you didn't use, where did it go?
It was there at the time.
I know it was there at the time. Where there?
Either in the bedroom or bathroom. I can't remember.
Pardon?
Either in the bedroom or bathroom.
So you don't know where it was, is what you're telling me, right?
Are you talking about the portion we did not use?
That's the portion that I'm talking about.
It was thrown aside somewhere. I don't know.
So when you said bathroom, why were you saying bathroom?
Because he went all the way to the bathroom and I was all the way near the bed. We were just seeing how long it was.
So did he go down the hallway or did he go through the closet?
Down the hallway.
And he made it all the way back to the bed with it, right?
Wouldn't he? What do you mean?
Well, with the rope in his hand, when you guys were measuring, it appears that one of you held one end and he held the other, right?
Yes, first he cut it and then he came back to the bed.
Was there any holding of it such that you were able to see the length of the rope? That's what it appears that you told us.
Yes.
Okay, which end did you hold? The end in the bedroom or the end in the bathroom?
The end in the bedroom.
And he was in the bathroom, right?
Yes.
And so you're saying that even though he's in the bathroom, when you guys are checking to see the length of this particular rope, that he cuts it in the bathroom, right?
Yes, he did.
What's the purpose? What is the necessity of cutting it in the bathroom? Why would you even need to cut this rope?
Because it was too long to make nooses on the ends.
So you're saying that the only way to make a noose at the end of this rope is if you get it the exact size of the bed, if you will, all the way around so that it comes to whatever part of your anatomy is going to be tied up so that the ends meet exactly there. That's the only way that this is going to work. And that's why you guys needed to cut it, right?
That's not what I'm saying.
Mr. Alexander's plan.
Sustained.
You were there, right?
Yes.
And you were part of this plan, right?
Yes.
You were helping, right?
Yes.
So you knew what was going on, right?
I knew I was going to be tied up.
Pardon?
I knew I was going to be tied
Right,
up.
and so you knew that's why the rope was being cut, right?
Yes.
According to you, right? And so the way you're describing it is that the rope had to be a certain perfect length in order for the tying up to take place.
Same objection, Your Honor, speculating on Mr. Alexander's plan in terms of the length.
Overruled.
I don't know. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Mike, could you please read it back?
So you're saying that the rope had to be a certain length for it to be perfectly the same length for this to take place?
I guess it had to be a certain length, but I don't know where perfect comes in.
Well, couldn't it be, ma'am, that the rope, whether it was 20, 15 feet, if it was going to be wrapped around something, you didn't have to have the ends where your hands or wrists were going to be. It could be a little longer and you could just tie it up and there would be some left over. You could do that, couldn't you?
I don't know how to make nooses, so I don't know the answer to that.
I'm not talking, this wasn't a case where he was going to hog tie you, right?
No.
This wasn't a case where he wanted you immobile, right?
Objection calls for speculation. I don't know what he wanted.
Sustained, rephrase.
Well, you said that you're free to move there, right? Get your hands out, right?
Yes. If
And those were the only things that were tied, right?
Yes.
So the purpose of this rope is purely decorative for the fantasy of it, right?
Yes.
So it's not a situation where you have to know an exact tie. In other words, you don't have to have an exact noose or to go around the wrist. You can just put it on there, right?
Objection. This argument calls for speculation.
Overruled.
I don't really know what kind of knot was required. I just call them nooses.
You've tied shoes before, haven't you?
Yes.
And you put two ends of string together and tied them together, haven't you?
Yes.
And the previous time that he tied you up, it was the same sort of thing. He just tied you up, right?
Same sort of thing as shoelaces? No.
I'm not saying it was with shoelaces. I'm saying there was a knot. That's all that is required, right?
Yes.
And so to make a knot, there is no exact ending to the rope that needs to be there. The rope can be whatever length you want it to be. And then you just, in this case, put your wrist through it, you tie it loose, and you don't need to be cutting it, do you?
Objection. Asked and answered and it's argumentative.
Overruled.
Well, I didn't cut it, so I don't know.
Well, you were a participant in this and you were holding one end, right?
Yes.
And you were going to have your wrist tied, right?
Yes.
And so and the rope was soft, right?
Yes.
And so you knew that you could take the end of the rope and tie it, or you could take the middle of the rope and tie it, right? That was possible, right?
That was possible.
Sure, and that could be done, right?
I guess it could be, yes.
And there would be no need for a knife at that point, would there?
No, I guess not.
And so in this case, you have this rope. Take a look at exhibit number 63. Recognize this?
Yes.
This is Mr. Alexander's bedroom, correct?
Yes.
And this is the bed that you indicated that the sexual activity took place, correct?
Yes.
And you're indicating that the rope, from what you testified on direct examination, went behind here, right?
Yes.
And then it came around,
Yes.
and then you were sort of spread eagled there, correct?
Yes.
So that your left hand would have been up here,
That's correct.
and your right hand would have been up
define
here,
it.
right?
Yes.
And that the rope
Oh, I'm up. Don't worry.
sort of went behind there, right?
Yes.
Was it looped once or was it looped twice?
Do you mean around the back?
Yeah.
Just once.
And so it wasn't attached to anything at all then, right?
No, just my wrists.
And so that it was loosely fitting, if you will, around the back here, right?
Yes.
And this activity did not take very long, right?
No, it didn't.
And you then slipped out of the rope, right?
Yes.
And then you continued with the activity, right?
Yes.
There wasn't, at that point, both of you were interested in whatever the object is in sexual activity, right? Whatever it was for you, right?
Yes.
Both of you were interested in that at that point, right?
Yes.
You weren't taking the bed linens off the bed or anything like that at that point, right?
No.
You weren't doing anything other than weren't doing anything other than being into each other, correct?
That's correct.
And so at that point, when you're doing that, the rope is still there, isn't it?
I don't remember if we left it there and got it afterward, or if he pulled it out and threw it on the side with the rest of the rope.
Well, no, because what you said is, remember, you just told me that. What you did is you just pulled your hand out of the rope, right?
Yes.
And your hand, you told me, was right here.
Well, my right hand would be there.
Right? And then your left hand would be over here, right?
Yes.
And so you just pulled your hands out.
Right.
And then you continued with whatever activity you were involved in, right?
Yes.
Because previous to that, he had been engaging in an activity that was uncomfortable for you, right?
Yes, it was a little uncomfortable.
And you asked him to stop, and he did, right?
Yeah.
What activity did you engage in, without regaling us with the details, what did you engage in afterwards? What position did you take?
I think that was when the photos began.
Okay, so then you started to take the photographs, right?
Yes.
It was at that time the photos began.
Now take a look at exhibits numbers 166, 165 through 169. Go ahead and take a look at these. Those are the photographs that were taken, that you just told us were taken after you slipped your hands out of the noose, right?
Yes, not directly, but after that, yes.
Well, you said they were, what you told us just now was that you slipped your hands out of the noose, you continued the sexual activity and started to take photographs. Do you remember you just told us that?
Yes.
Not today, Satan.
You've looked at
Not
those
today.
photographs, right?
Yes.
There's 2 photographs of Mr. Alexander, and there's how many of you? 4? Take a look, just count them out.
Yes, 4.
And there is some KY there, right? KY personal lubricant, correct?
That's correct.
And that's
Your Honor, I
the same
object.
type of, that is what you introduced it to according to the May 10, 2008 conversation, right?
Yes.
And nowhere there do you see any rope, do you?
No.
So there, even though you just told us that you continued with the sexual activity, immediately after you took your hands out of the rope is nowhere to be pictured, is it?
Objection, mischaracterizes the testimony. She did not say immediately.
Please state your question.
Ma'am, you told us that you pulled your hands out of the rope, right?
Yes,
And you told us that it was long enough to go all the way around the back here, right?
yes,
Presumably, there's nothing in the back to hold it up, right?
no, nothing.
It went straight all the way to the ground because of gravity, right?
When I slipped my wrists out, yes.
The rope that was back there, it went all the way down to the ground because of gravity, because there's nothing holding it up, right?
Yeah, after I took my wrists out.
Not after, before.
No, it wasn't that long, I don't think.
Well, let me just ask the questions, please, all right? The rope is looped behind here, behind the headboard, correct?
That's correct.
There's nothing holding it up back there, correct?
And boom goes the
Back there,
dynamite.
no.
No, it's not the ideal headboard for tying people up, right?
It's not.
It's just standing there, right?
Stupid is,
What,
stupid
the
does, sir.
headboard?
Yes.
Yes,
And then you said that it came around this way like this
yes,
to your right hand, correct?
yes,
And it came around here like this to your right hand, correct?
yes,
And then you said that your legs were in this portion of the bed, correct?
right.
If we want, we can take a look at another photograph of that area. Exhibit number 64. Recognize that?
Yes,
This is the arm wall that you told us that you were leaning up against when the man and the woman came, the man and the woman came in, right?
yes,
But if you could take a look at it, this is the back of it right here, correct?
the back of what? The bed?
Well, what do you think I'm pointing at, ma'am?
We were just talking about the armoire, so
Okay, but what am I pointing at right now?
the bed,
And your left arm would have been right here,
Can't
correct?
with her,
Yes.
y'all.
This area.
Just can't.
Your feet would have been down here, correct?
yes,
And there was a sheet or something on top of it, right?
the blankets and sheets
The
were there.
blanket and sheets, right? And you said that, well, I slipped my hands or my wrists out of the rope, right?
That's correct.
If gravity has the rope already down here on the ground, you agree that it's already down on the ground, the rope, right?
I don't think so. I think it was
Oh,
too
no.
short.
Pardon?
It was too short to hit the ground. It was more like, I mean, it was kind of pulled taut.
So what you're saying now is that when you told me before that the rope was back here, now you're saying that that's not true.
It's still back there, but I don't know what I don't think I can visualize what you're talking about.
I'm
Maybe we're talking
asking-
about different things.
I'm asking about this rope that you claim was used to tie you up. Do you remember that?
Yes,
All right. There is nothing behind this headboard. Exhibit number 66. It's not mission style furniture, is it?
I don't know what mission style furniture is.
Slats, it doesn't have any slats.
No, it doesn't.
It's more like a sleigh, correct?
Yes, it's a sleigh bed.
And as a sleigh bed,
One
it doesn't have
mission
anything in the back
Raising.
that would hold a rope if it was draped around it.
Objection, cross speculation or foundation.
I guess not. I
50
think-
shades
Well, no,
of nope.
You were there, and you were the person that was
50
tied up,
shades
right?
of
Yes.
rope.
And so
And
if the
down.
rope is already all
Onions.
the way down on the ground, when you get your arm out here, which would be your right arm, and your left arm here, then the rope would just remain there, wouldn't it?
If that were the case, but it wasn't.
Well, that's how you described it to start with, didn't you?
I never talked about the rope touching the ground behind the bed, no.
You didn't what?
I never talked about the rope touching the ground behind the bed.
So you think now that the rope never touched the bottom of the ground then, right?
Well, it was pulled taut, so I guess I'd be speculating because I don't have x-ray vision and I didn't look behind the bed, but the rope was tight.
So the rope was tight. But if the rope is tight, then that means you can't get your wrists out, right? Because then you have to hold on. It has to hold on to your wrist. It's now tight, right?
No.
Objection, compound question.
Jodi. Another
Stand.
Jodi.
You said
it's the same
that your
Jodi.
wrists are tight, correct?
The rope was tight.
Okay, the rope was tight on your wrist, correct?
No, the rope was pulled tight.
Okay, the rope was pulled tight, your wrists were covered or circled by this rope, correct?
Yes.
And they were pulled tight, correct?
I'm gonna bite
The nooses
pillow
were
is
loose
what
enough to
I'm
slip
gonna
out of.
Pardon?
The nooses were loose enough to slip out of.
Right, but you're saying that
Alrighty then.
it was tight, correct?
Yes, I was putting pressure on the.
So if it's tight on your wrist, if it's pulled taut, I think that's the term that you may have used,
Yes.
correct? If it's pulled taut, how is it then that if you can just slip your hand out, that it's still in place?
Who cares?
What, the rope is still in place?
Right.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Well, the point is either loose or it's tight. Which one was it? Is it tight around your wrist so that it creates a situation where it doesn't go down to the ground? Or is it loose around your wrist so that the rope is down on the ground? Which one is it?
It was pulled taut and the nooses were wide enough to slip my hands in and out of. That's all I can really say about it. I don't know about ropes and things.
And while you were, and this is why you were tied up, right?
Yes.
And so where's the rest of the rope?
Wherever he left it,
Okay,
somewhere in that room or the bathroom, I guess.
okay. So you don't know where he left the other rope, right?
Not offhand.
Most people don't have a knife in their bedrooms, do they? Well, he didn't usually have a knife in his
That's not a
bedroom,
knife.
correct?
This is a knife.
World.
To my knowledge, that's correct. He never did.
Right. And this would be the first time that you ever saw that he had a knife in his bedroom, right?
That I saw, yes.
And
Why?
so where did he cut the rope? Not what on the rope, not where on the rope, but where in the
He cut
house?
it in the bathroom.
So he did it in the bathroom. Did he come into the
Sorry.
bedroom with the knife, or did he leave it in the bathroom?
Oops.
I don't
Court.
remember.
Not for
I don't remember
children.
where he put the knife
It's
when he was
rated.
done.
Do you remember telling
Rated
Richard
night
Samuels that he actually brought the knife back and left it on the nightstand so that he could cut the rope off of your wrists?
I remember speculating about where the knife was left, but he didn't need to cut the rope.
You didn't tell Mr. Richard Samuels that the knife was
Kentucky
used
jelly.
to cut the rope from your wrists.
Not from my wrist,
Jelly
but
made in
to cut the
Kentucky.
rope, yes.
And you don't remember that it was on the
It's
nightstand,
also where
right?
Shayna Hubers was from. So, not entirely wrong, I'm sure.
I don't remember exactly where it was.
Rated
Do you
KY.
remember telling Richard Samuels that when this attack was going on, that you remembered that the knife was near the nightstand and because it had been used to cut the rope? Do you remember anything like that?
I remember speculating about that.
Well, are you sure that you said, I'm speculating that the knife was used to cut the rope?
I'm sure I did not say speculating when I was speculating.
Well, let me ask it directly then. Are you saying that the knife was used to cut the rope from your wrists or not?
Your mother was completely different.
Now for something completely different. And this is our talent section. Because why not? I got this email from Kelly P. Kelly P is in. She just made the handcuffs comment. But she sent me her corner shop Redbubble. I will I assume that this is the link. We're gonna go with that. But she got a lot of cool stuff here, actually. There's a lot of cool stuff. Let me just real quick take the brand off. There's a lot of nifty, cool things here. It wasn't me, my dog did it. There's like 500 things here, y'all, which is really cool. There's a lot of good stuff here. Oh my gosh, I need this. Your drama is not on my agenda today. That's awesome. Nicely done. But I also found two other things that I love that really kind of speak to all of us. And here you go. Here's the first one. I don't math 24/7. Love it. I also like this one, and I think Brandi will as well, because it reminds me of Lucy. Look at that. That's adorable. That is so cute. So cute. So listen, everybody, do yourself a favor. There are a ton of different designs here. Literally a ton. A metric ton. Also, I don't math, so, take that for what it's worth. But there's a ton of things here. There's things for kids and babies. Oh, what do you got? What you got? What you got? Let's see here. Oh, these are cool. Absolutely. That's cute. That's adorable. Oh, I love that. The link. Here it is. There you go. There's the link. Home and living accessories. I love me some stickers. I love this one. Let's avocado. These are really cool. Well done, Kelly P. Well done. There's a little bit of, oh my gosh, this is Brandi's sticker. If you can't find me, I'm down the rabbit hole. Those are great. Kelly, thanks for sharing that with me, and hopefully we get some folks to head over there and check out more of your stuff, because it's wonderful. And you deserve to have all of the things. Evangeline Light, if you look just above your comment, I put the link right there. It's already there. It's already there. I'm already there. Take a look around, then buy some stuff from her. Support the local artists. You guys support Brandi and me. You guys, we have a wonderful community here that loves to support each other. And you don't always have to support monetarily, but also you can share it. Is there really no link? Because I've shared it twice. And if I can't share a link, well, then I don't know what to do with myself. Let's try this. That's definitely not it. Hold on. Ein momento, por favor. Did that not work? I literally just sent it. And if you're not seeing the link, oops. Can I write it in manually? Hold on. All right, let's just try this. It is, go to redbubble.com. If you don't see my comments, they hid me. It's okay. It's fine. I can be hid. I'm kidding. That's okay. Yes, I can speak it. I will. And I will also post it on my Twitter as well. If you go to redbubble.com and if you look for Kelly's Corner, you will find it. It's the first thing that pops up. It's the only thing that pops up. That's KELLIESCORNER. Kelly's Corner. So redbubble.com. Search Kelly's Corner. You will find that store. Am I in the portal? Probably. I probably am in the portal. You are a goofy dude. Thank you. Thanks for the super chat, Peter. I appreciate you. Yes, that's it right there. Kelly's Corner. You will find it. Kelly, you can answer that question in the chat if you would like. You know more about Redbubble than I do. For sure. Cool. All right. So y'all are fine, and I'm gonna hit play. We can kind of answer if things come up.
Not for my wrist, but to cut it, yes.
I understand to cut it. I asked risks. From your wrist, was the knife used to cut the rope from your wrist?
No.
You remember somebody by the name of Cheryl Karp?
Yes.
And you discussed the same incident with her, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So, again, are you sure that the knife was not necessary to cut the rope from your wrist?
I'm sure it wasn't necessary to cut it off of me.
And not only was it not necessary, that's not what was done, correct?
Cut off?
Right.
That's correct.
You slipped your hands out, correct?
Yes.
And then you continued with the activities of the day, correct?
Yes.
Whatever it was that you guys were going to do, correct?
Yes.
You keep talking about a movie, and there's an indication perhaps that there's a movie that was made, but it wasn't made, if there was one, with Mr. Alexander's camera, correct?
I don't remember which camera we used because mine did movies
Thank you,
too.
Peter, for gifting
And
membership.
his was kind of new to me, so it
Sandra,
was
you're still
a
here.
little
You
bit
said
hard
you
to
were
figure
going,
out
but
all
hey.
of the features on it.
Do you remember
got a
testifying
membership.
on direct examination about this issue then?
Yes.
Do you remember that you specifically told us that you could not use Mr. Alexander's camera to take this video? Do you remember telling us that?
I don't remember saying I couldn't.
Do you remember that you said that it couldn't be done for whatever reason, you guys couldn't do it?
Objection, this characterizes her testimony.
Oh,
No, I think I was talking about the timer.
ma'am, do you remember, let's just take a look at Exhibit 167. Remember talking about this particular photograph and saying, I was trying to set up the camera so that we could take a video, but it didn't work because you didn't know how to do it. Do you remember telling us that?
Yes, I remember that.
So now you remember, right?
Yes. Well, you said couldn't. It doesn't mean I couldn't. I just couldn't figure it out. It doesn't mean I couldn't take a video if I didn't sit and try to figure it out. But we were in the mood and didn't want to sit and tinker with it.
No, but you had time to measure out
What
the rope.
are you saying in terms of the...
Full stop. Full stop, Juan. What are you saying? End of sentence. What are you saying? What is
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberry.
camera? Did or you use Mr. Alexander's, did you attempt to use Mr. Alexander's camera to videotape the sexual activity? Yes or no?
Yes.
Remember just now you told me that you didn't? Or that you couldn't remember?
That I couldn't.
Use his camera.
I couldn't remember which camera we ultimately used.
So, but do you remember that previously in this hearing, in this trial, you told us that you could remember?
Could remember what?
What are we talking about again here? We're talking about videotaping the sexual activity in which camera is involved. Do you have any problem understanding that?
No.
So, do you remember on direct examination that you told us something different than what you're telling us now?
Objection, this characterizes her testimony, Judge.
Overruled. I'm just answering the questions to the best of my memory, so.
I'm not asking you if you're answering the questions to the best of your memory, am I?
No.
I'm asking you whether you have changed your story from testifying earlier to now. That's what I'm asking you.
The answer is no.
Well, then, do you remember testifying that you and Mr. Alexander, when this photograph was taken, were attempting to use his camera to videotape the activity? Do you remember telling us that?
I don't remember specifically saying that, but that would be accurate.
And that's something that you didn't tell us previously now. You've now changed that from what you told us a couple of minutes ago, right?
Objection, this characterizes her testimony, Judge.
Overruled. I don't think so. I think it's all consistent. You're just asking different questions.
Okay. And then, after doing that, there was a situation where you got up and you got your camera, right?
Yes.
And you say that this camera was used to videotape the activity, correct?
Correct.
So Where's the rope?
At this point, I guess it would be somewhere on the floor.
Why would it be on the floor if it was already on the floor to start with?
The part that was not used went on the floor to start with.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Chicago!
Don't mean to be exploitive about this, but we'll start with this photograph here of Mr. Alexander, 166. Do you see where this is, ma'am?
Yes.
This is the corner of the bed. Do you see that?
Yes.
You said that your arms or hands were tied down here. Do you remember telling us that?
They were in that general area.
Sure. And if the rope is down on the ground, you take your hands out, that rope is still going to remain there, right?
No.
Well, let's take another view. 168. This is where your hands were, right?
Yes.
And this is where the rope was, right?
Yes.
It isn't there, is it?
Finish her.
Well, you keep saying that anymore. It isn't there at all, is it?
It wasn't there when that photo was taken.
After this activity, you and Mr. Alexander, according to you, had something to eat, right?
Yes.
And after that, there was sort of a lull in the day's activities, right?
Yes.
Why didn't you just go home at that point? You said that part of the reason was just to have sex. That's been accomplished. Why not go home there?
Wasn't the only reason?
Pardon?
Because going there to have sex was not the only reason for going there.
What was the other reason?
Spend time together.
And so you guys are continuing to spend time together, right?
Yes.
And you want to spend time with somebody that you've described over and over as a bully, right?
Never said that once.
Sustained.
Judgment we approach? Did you indicate at all during cross-examination and any part of direct examination that he was a bully?
Yes.
And so why is it that you want to spend time with somebody that you describe as a bully?
He wasn't just a bully. He was many good things also.
Or it could be that he wasn't ever a bully, right?
That's not the case. No.
It could be that that's just what you're saying, right?
There's an argumentative.
That's how I felt.
And the fact that you felt bullied is your perception of what was going on, right?
Yes.
So for example, in August of 2007, when he's banging his head up against the closet door and then sort of comes after you and grabs your wrist and hugs you, that's bullying, right?
Which is okay. It still tastes good.
Consider that bullying.
So, but again, it's your perception as to what he's doing that constitutes your definition of what bullying is, correct?
Yes, when I feel bullied.
Remember
After
when
that,
we
you tell us
said,
something
I
about
can't wait for
going
cross.
downstairs
I can't
and you're
wait for
looking at
cross.
some CDs or something like that, correct?
It's like
Yes.
running a marathon
And,
at a 100-meter sprint pace.
With regard to your camera, where did you keep the camera?
My Olympus, the one we used.
I don't know which one it was. You're the one that was there. You had a camera, correct?
Yes, I had 2 cameras with me.
Okay. Which camera was used to attempt to videotape the sexual activity?
The Olympus.
And was it successful?
Yes, I knew how to use video on that camera.
Pardon?
Yes.
And did you guys view it afterwards?
Yes.
Did you delete it afterwards?
Yes.
Immediately?
Yes.
How about the photographs that were taken from his camera? Were they deleted immediately afterwards?
To my knowledge, we deleted them
Nah, he
afterward,
grabbed 3
yes.
cans on the way
The
in.
way you say that, to my knowledge, it means that you're not sure, right?
I'm not sure because he did the deleting, I think.
So it could be that they weren't deleted right afterwards, right?
Could be.
And you wouldn't know because you weren't watching what he was doing, right? You were watching what he was doing, but you weren't engaged in the transaction yourself, correct?
That's correct.
With regard to that camera
Sorry, Gail.
and deleting pictures,
But also,
this was the first exposure
my
that you've
comment
had to
stands.
that camera, right?
It's true.
Yes.
You hadn't seen it before, right?
That's right.
And in fact, although you indicated to Detective Flores that you helped him buy this camera, right?
Yes.
You helped him buy it telephonically, right?
Yes.
And so the camera that he had before that day, before the sexual activity, you had never deleted any images from that camera, right?
Prior to June 4th, no.
And after the sexual activity, there was photographs that were taken during the activity, correct?
Yes.
And according to you, after the sexual activity is when he was involved in what you thought was deleting photographs, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't really recall what point they were deleted. I just
Because we
know
have
they got
5
deleted.
left.
What you do know is that you didn't do the deleting, right?
I did some deleting on that phone that day with the shower pictures, so I don't,
I'm not asking about the shower pictures, am I?
no.
I'm
You just asked about
asking about-
deleting, so I answered.
I'm asking about, let's restrict ourselves to the sexual activity for right now, all right?
Yes.
Involving the sexual activity, you don't know whether or not he deleted those photographs, right?
Not 100% if he did or I did. I'm pretty sure he did.
But you don't know, right?
That's correct.
And up until that time, that after the sexual activity, you had not deleted any images from his camera, ever, right?
Up until that time, no.
Right. You went downstairs, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the photos were deleted before or after, but we did go
I'm not
downstairs.
asking you when the phones were deleted, or the photos
Yeah,
were
one more
deleted.
day
I'm asking
across.
you after you were upstairs, and you just said that you, up to
days
that
of
point,
redirect.
you hadn't deleted anything.
3 days.
After that,
1 day of cross.
you went downstairs, right?
1 day. 2 days of redirect.
Well, you make it sound like without deleting anything, we went downstairs. But I don't know if that was the case, if we deleted them before we went downstairs or afterward.
But you didn't do any of the deletion, right? You just said you don't know when he deleted them, right?
That's right.
So you don't know if they were deleted before
One
you
more
went
day across,
downstairs
2
or
redirect, and 3
at some later time,
jury
right?
questions.
That's correct.
And so you then go downstairs
There's 6 days
because we
left.
don't know if the images were deleted yet,
All right.
right?
That's correct.
Is that
I
when you
don't
took your
math,
shower?
y'all. I don't math.
I don't know if I ate the banana first or if I took a shower first.
All right, but at some point, before or after the banana, you took a shower.
Yes.
And was he in the bathroom, Mr. Alexander, when you were taking your shower?
Oh, we're getting
At
to
one
it.
point, yes, and then afterward, no.
Okay?
We're getting to
And
it.
that's the only shower that you took that day, correct?
I don't know. Because I have a lot of memory gaps that day. That's the only one I remember taking.
So now the memory gaps start, correct?
Well,
Is that
when
what
you talk in
said?
terms of the whole day, you said that day, I can't
Well,
answer.
I'm asking that day after 1:45 in the afternoon, you said you took a shower, right?
I don't know what time it was, but we took a shower after sex. I did.
Right.
ASMR pages.
Take a look at photograph number 165. Recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's my stuff down there.
Is it a picture of your rear end, right?
Yes,
And it does have a time on there, doesn't it?
yes.
What's the time
Now
on there?
she's.
1:44
Now hold on a
p.m.
second.
So my question to you was, after 1:45 in the afternoon,
Now
did you
you're.
take a shower?
Now, okay.
Um,
All right.
yes, after that point, yes.
Okay.
Not immediately after necessarily.
All right. And you told us that it was perhaps before or after you ate the banana, right?
Yes,
And while you were taking a shower, Mr. Alexander was there for a little bit of time and then he was somewhere else, right?
he was in the bathroom at first and then he left.
And you took a shower in the same place where you placed his body after you killed him, right?
Yes,
And after you took the shower, you got dressed in the pants that you were wearing at the time that you killed him, right?
I believe so.
When you say you believe so, was there a costume change throughout this whole event?
Not that I recall.
And after the shower, where was he?
After my shower, he was downstairs in his office.
Okay, and then you went down there, right?
Yes, I did.
The only reason that you know he was downstairs is because you went down there, right?
Yes.
Where was your camera?
I don't know at that point if I'd put it in the car or afterward or what. I don't know.
This was June 4th of 2008, right?
Yes.
And this was after 1:45 in the afternoon, right?
Yes.
Why would you put a camera in a very hot car in the Mesa area where temperatures can go over 105, 110 degrees?
I didn't
outside?
say I did. I didn't say I did. I said I didn't remember.
No, you said that you don't remember, but you thought you put it in the car, right?
I said I don't remember if it was still in the house or in the car at that point.
All right. So at some point, you said that you also took your luggage out, right?
Yes.
And your luggage included toiletries and that sort of thing, right?
Yes, and clothing.
Right? So when did you take your items out to the car?
I don't remember the exact moment or sequence.
I'm not asking the exact moment. Give me an hour period.
I don't know.
Well, what is it, after 1:45?
It was after that.
Was it before 5:30?
Probably. I don't recall.
Well, the photographs in the shower at 5:30, had you already taken your items downstairs?
I'm not sure. I think, but I'm not 100%.
Do you remember when you testified on direct
Sure
examination
did.
regarding this issue?
Yes.
Remember that you told us that by the time the shower was taken, you had already put the luggage and those items in the car.
The luggage, yes. I'm not sure about the camera.
Okay, so the luggage did go into the car then, right?
Yes.
No, but I got
Did you also tell us that the other bag also went into the car before you were taking these photographs? Do you remember telling us that?
Yes.
How many bags did you have that day?
I had my backpack, my carry-on suitcase, my purse, and my camera case, and my laptop.
Okay, so your laptop, is that going out at the same time that your suitcase is going out or not?
No, because, well, I had the laptop in the office when I pulled the CDs out. I don't really remember. I know I had it at that point, but I don't remember when it went in the car.
Well, it was obviously before 5:30 though, right?
Ew.
The laptop, I don't know, I guess.
Well, that's when he was in the shower at 5:30, right?
Yes.
Okay, and didn't you tell us on direct examination that by that time you had already taken all of your stuff down into the car? Do you remember telling us that then?
I remember saying the luggage and things, yes.
So you don't remember that you told us that the rest of the items were also taken down and put in the car?
Well, I don't know about the camera or the...
I'm not asking about the camera. I'm asking about all the other items. Because the camera, you've told me you don't know. And then we talked about the laptop, remember?
Yes.
And so I'm asking you, when did the other items go down? Let's keep the camera out of this equation. When did the other items go down into the car?
I don't know.
Why is it that you don't know, ma'am?
They're just details that I don't remember. I remember some things and like major things and not, I don't know, they're details.
Why is it that you don't remember the details today, but when you were talking about them within the last couple of weeks, you did remember them? Why is that? That's my point.
Well, I was uncertain about those too. I just was, obviously it went in the car at one point. I just don't know exactly which point.
But do you remember telling us last week that the luggage and the other items all went down into the car before 5:30? Do you remember telling us that?
Not that specifically.
And you don't remember telling us that the camera was included and that it also went down before 5:30. Do you remember telling us that at all?
I don't know.
Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
You took your luggage and you placed it in your car. You remember we were talking about that?
Yes.
On to the
And
final
one
day
of the
of
things that
cross.
you were telling us was that you didn't remember what you had said on direct examination.
Or at
Do you
least a
remember
little
that?
longer.
I didn't remember the precise wording. That's correct.
Well, no, you didn't remember the time. It was more than the precise wording, wasn't it?
I don't remember the exact time. That's also correct.
And when I asked you if it was closer to 5, you weren't able to tell me, were you?
Yes.
And in fact, what the exchange was on direct examination was that you were asked, so you say you're packing your luggage or you packed your luggage in your car and you're getting ready to
All my
leave.
bags are packed.
And the question was, do you remember
Ready
about what
to
time of the
go.
day that this was when you were
Standing
packing your
here.
car and getting ready to leave? And you said, I don't.
Did I
It
say
was
that?
after that. I think it was after 2, I'm sure. So it was after 2 o'clock that you took everything and put it down at the car, correct?
That makes sense.
When you say that makes sense, although it makes sense, I'm asking you if that's what happened.
Well, it would have been after 2 because around before 2 we were having sex.
Pardon?
Before 2 we were otherwise engaged.
But after 2 o'clock, the way you're saying it is you're saying it could be 6 o'clock in the evening. It was after 2, specifically it was around 2 o'clock when you actually put the luggage in the car, right?
It was after 2 o'clock. I don't know how close to 2 o'clock.
So it could have been, so you're telling us it was shortly after 2 o'clock based on that statement, right?
I just know it would have been after we did what we were doing.
And was it shortly after you did what you were
Thank
doing?
you. Jen, also thank you for your...
Well, maybe not. I guess
purchase.
it's relative. I just
I
know that it was
appreciate it.
after what we were
Thanks,
doing.
everybody.
I don't
So-
remember the exact time.
I just want to know how much time after you and he got done doing what you were doing, you said 2 o'clock, what time in terms of hour or minute, how much time elapsed after that you took your items down to the car?
I'm not sure.
And so when you say you're not sure, you were a little bit more sure on direct examination, weren't you?
Not on exact time, no.
But you were more sure about the time. You want me to read it back to you?
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
I was more, wait, you asked me 2 questions.
Well, answer the first one then. You were ready to answer that.
I was sure that it happened after we were done having sex.
And you mentioned 2 o'clock, didn't you?
That would have been after 2 o'clock, yes.
So then you were asked, so after your car's packed and ready to go, you said you were dressed, right? Remember being asked about that?
I was dressed, yes. Unless we were engaging in other things, I was always dressed.
And it was after you packed your car
Currently,
that you
yes.
and he then went downstairs
For sure.
to the study, right? Or the office, however you want to call it.
Having said that, let me check
We
the
did go
calendar.
downstairs after the bedroom stuff, but I don't know about packing the stuff in the car.
Yes,
Well, when did you
for
pack your
sure.
stuff then? You seem to have a hard time telling us when you packed your stuff.
Yes, the precise moment, I don't remember when I put
Am
things
I
in the
asking
car.
you for the precise moment, ma'am?
You said when?
Right. When means, if I wanted the precise moment, I'll ask you for the precise moment. When, in the sequence of events, did you pack your stuff and put it in the car?
As far as sequence of events, the most precise I can tell you is after 2 o'clock and before leaving.
Thank you, Peter.
And you can't get any clearer than that.
It's not there, maybe it's somewhere there, but I don't remember.
So again, it's an issue with your memory as to when it was that you actually put the stuff in the car, correct?
That's correct.
And when you put the items in the car, did you do it alone or did Mr. Alexander help you?
I did it alone.
Do you remember telling us that perhaps Mr. Alexander helped you?
Yes, it's possible to help me with it downstairs, but usually he let me get my own luggage.
So usually means that you're telling
Probably
us
should
that you don't
advertise about that, shouldn't
remember
I?
whether or not he helped you on this occasion, right?
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that
I
he
should also
helped
let
me bring it
Ms. Rose Cram
downstairs, but I don't remember him walking me out to the car to put my own luggage in.
So you went outside and you put it in your car, right? And your car was parked out front in the driveway, correct?
It was parked in the driveway, yes.
And would it be fair to say that if your car didn't have a license plate affixed to the back, that it would make it more difficult for people to know who was driving that car?
If that were true, I guess so.
That would be the case though, right?
If there were no license plate, that would be true.
And we know that you hadn't put back, at least the front license plate, you hadn't put that back, correct?
That's correct. I drove from Pasadena to Mesa with it in the floorboard.
So the answer is that's correct. You're still in the car,
Thank you.
Yes.
And so you're inside
Five
and
gifted memberships.
you're in the study and you're looking at some CDs or something.
I'm going to pause it there. I think this is a good time. CJ's mom, thank you so much. Emily Looney, Tracy Williams, TC, Cooking Without Looking. Sounds dangerous, but I like it. And Lisa. We're all gifted memberships. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate that a lot. No. Hold on. Wait a second. Am I seeing comments? I am seeing comments in two different places. Okay. So let me clear some things up. Because apparently I can do two things in a night. Over, man.
Game over, man. It's game over.
So there are ways to go about this. There is crossover. There is absolutely crossover. There are two options that I can go through. I will be on the podcast with RA Weather Watch and Brandi. So either I leave early and start this one on time, which is fine, or I hang out there and we portal everybody this way, and then I start this one up right before they end. Either way. But so there are ways to go about it. I just kind of have to make that decision, and I will make that announcement on Twitter. I think Brandi and I will make the announcement also on YouTube, and then also on Facebook as well. So it's a Friday. It's a this Friday. This Friday. Oh, Annie's here. She said 5 cheers for Night Court. Me too. Me too. Thank you. Everybody likes the portal idea. Well, that ultimately is up to RA. But so yes. We're gonna call it. We're a little past midnight. Also, I know that some of you think I have a bedtime. While it is nice to go to bed, or would be, my brain is running 1,000,000 miles a minute during this stream, and to calm it down takes like an hour and a half. However, for our mods that work all day, or just in general, there's only so far you can go, and I don't like to put them constantly through the ringer. Some days we might go later, and that's okay. But in this case, yep, nope. So they need to sleep just like everybody else, as much as living amazing as they are. I want to make sure that they get some rest. Not everybody's like me with the brain that's all over the place. Well, everybody, thank you so very much. Thank you so very. That looked like a threat. Thank you so very much for joining me tonight. Night Court will still happen on Friday. It will be after or at the same time. We'll make an announcement. We'll make sure y'all can find it and see it. If you subscribe to this channel, you'll get those little notes and posts that we put up. So you can definitely do that. Head over to our link tree. You can vote on the next Night Court case. And then what else is there? Go over to Kelly P's page. I posted it on Twitter, but also we'll get it out there as well. It's wonderful. Anyways, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family and friends. Just just doggone it, smile. Don't forget to smile and look out for one another. We need a little more of that in this world. I think this community does it. So definitely look out for one another. My gavel is up. The base is up. Court's adjourned, everybody. Thanks for showing up for jury duty. I will see you on Friday.